Chapter 1304. The leader of the exotic beasts was stunned. It had never imagined that the level 9 altar they had spent so many years to summon would be used by someone else. At the same time, the altar elf looked at the exotic beast. Seeing that the altar elf was not looking at it, the leader of the exotic beasts hurriedly said, "It's my offering. I want to get guidance. I want to get power." The altar elf looked at the leader of the exotic beasts. After a moment of silence, she finally spoke. It was him who asked first. She chose to answer Lu Chen's question. Heavenless celestial demon is not in the Jiutian, but it's in the Juten. It's with you, but it's as difficult as ascending to heaven to get it. Now that the body of the suboriginator was controlled by Lu Chen, what it saw and heard was what Lu Chen saw and heard. After hearing the altar elf's answer, the suboriginator's mind went blank. Did the altar elf like to let others guess? It's in the Jiutian, but it's not in the Jiutian, and it's with me, but I can't get it? This answer was simply contradictory in every way. The only thing that Lu Chen felt was that heavenless celestial demon was not really non-existent. It existed. Your question has been answered. Next. The altar elf did not leave directly, but looked at the leader of the exotic beasts. You want to get power, but it's a pity that this opportunity has been used by someone else. But I can give you guidance for free. The leader of the exotic beasts stared at the altar elf with wide eyes. The day the void chaos fiend god wakes up is the day you'll be destroyed. The leader of the exotic beasts said angrily, "As long as we can wake up the void chaos fiend god, we don't care about any price." The female elf looked at the leader of the exotic beasts with firm eyes. Even all the exotic beasts around had the same expression. In the end, the altar elf could only sigh. Everything in the world is a cycle of cause and effect. There must be a cause and an effect. After saying that, the female elf turned around, and her figure became fainter and fainter. The spiritual fire of the level 9 altar gradually weakened. After a moment of silence, a furious roar suddenly sounded. "Roar! I'll kill you!" The leader of the mutated beasts was enraged, and it pounced over. Lu Chen also reacted. "Little Yuan, break out of the encirclement." Lu Chen returned the control of Origin to Origin, then quickly returned to his main body and rushed towards Origin. Xiao Yuan didn't care about the strange beast leader at all. He turned around and fled. The leader of the strange beasts became even more enraged after missing its target. It raised its head to the sky and roared. Immediately afterward, countless exotic beasts swarmed toward Xiao Yuan, blocking his path. At the same time, behind the exotic beast army, a golden figure was sprinting towards them. Lu Chen had already activated Celestial Demon Symbiosis and Dragon God form and shot over from the back of the army. Fierce Tiger descends the mountain. Saint Lotus Sword Heart. Streaks of sword chi slashed forward. Little Yuan quick. When the beast army noticed someone behind them, a large group of beasts immediately pounced at Lu Chen. These mutated beasts were extremely powerful, and a single Saint Lotus Sword Heart was unable to kill them. The most terrifying thing was that these strange beasts didn't fear death. One was repelled by Lu Chen, but the other 10 pounced on him again. Devil Doppelganger. Buddha Doppelganger. Lu Chen created a doppelganger to help him relieve the pressure. Jiutian Star, Ice Element to Fire Element. Raging flames burning the sky. The ground was penetrated by a terrifying force gushing out from the ground. A kilometer away from Lu Chen, flames and lava soared into the sky. Those strange beasts activated their spiritual power shields, and the spiritual power shields of hundreds of thousands of strange beasts merged into a huge spiritual shield to resist the raging flames burning the sky. Under the joint efforts of hundreds of thousands of strange beasts, the raging flames burning the sky activated by 40,000 fire affinity was easily suppressed. Of course, Lu Chen wasn't surprised by this result. While they were resisting the raging flames burning the sky, Lu Chen had finished charging his Heaven's Wrath Spear. The second OE skill. Void Attack, God-Killing Spear, Heaven's Wrath Spear. Those strange beasts didn't expect this guy to have a more powerful AoE skill. They wanted to surround and kill him after resisting the raging flames burning the sky, but they were delayed by the Heaven's Wrath Spear. Lu Chen didn't care whether the Heaven's Wrath Spear could kill the enemies or not. While the strange beasts were delayed, Lu Chen dashed toward the source. The source was in an extremely dangerous situation. The army of strange beasts in front of it had begun to attack it with elements, and the leader of the strange beasts was chasing after it. Looking at its ferocious expression, it couldn't wait to tear the source into pieces. The source tried to escape several times, but it was blocked by the army of strange beasts in the end. Go to hell! The leader of the strange beasts shouted angrily and jumped up high. Purple spiritual power surged from the leader's left forelimb, and then a huge phantom of a ghost claw was formed in the air. The claw alone was 100 meters long, and the tip of the claw was sharp and emitting a cold purple light. Heaven's Might, Purple Flame Heavenly Demon Claw. For a moment, a fierce wind blew, and the spiritual power almost forced the army of strange beasts to retreat. The leader had seen that the source could defend against physical attacks and spiritual attacks many times, and it could even absorb those attacks. This attack was the Heaven's Wrath Spear, which was the weakest part of the source's defense. The leader's level was obviously higher than that of the ordinary strange beasts, and this attack carried the leader's endless anger. Although the attack had just been completed, it had already stirred up heaven and earth and caused the wind and clouds to roll over. The source had no way to retreat, so it could only take the attack head-on. However, the source couldn't withstand the Heaven's Wrath Spear in its current state. Source, retreat! Suddenly, an angry roar came from behind the source. Void attack, God-killing spear, Heaven's Wrath Spear. Between heaven and earth, the shadow of a huge spear, like a streamer, crossed thousands of soldiers and horses, and shot toward the leader of the strange beasts. In just a moment, the two super-powerful attacks collided with each other. With a loud bang, thousands of waves were stirred up, and the aftermath of the violent spiritual power roared between heaven and earth. Then, the two figures were sent flying backward at the same time. Lu Chen spat out a mouthful of blood, and his consciousness was blurred. The strength of the leader is so horrible that it can survive my Heaven's Wrath Spear. What is the leader's level? At the same time, the leader's situation was not optimistic. It was sent flying backward and hit the base of the altar, directly penetrating half of the base. Lu Chen tried to move, but found that he couldn't move at all. At this moment, although he had temporarily defeated the leader of the strange beasts, there were still millions of strange beasts around him. Damn it! My spiritual power is in chaos, and I can't move my body. In front of the crack, tens of thousands of Sengoku were fighting fiercely with the 500,000 strange beasts stationed here. Those bastards left so many troops to guard the crack. They don't want us to leave here. Whether we can escape or not depends on our luck. There were battlefields everywhere. Some people were besieged, some tried to break through, some had escaped into the crack, and some had died in the battle. The scene was chaotic and there were countless battlefields, big and small. At this time, a small team of 8 human beings had just killed 7 strange beasts. If you don't go, you won't have a chance. The 500,000 strange beasts were several times more numerous than the Sengoku. Moreover, the Sengoku were fighting on their own without a leader. If this went on, they would be defeated. Now, they had to run as long as they could. You guys go first. I can't go yet. Mu Long took out a talisman and looked at it anxiously. That guy hadn't used the 1,000 miles guiding talisman, so he couldn't leave yet. Chapter 1305. Lu Chen could not move at all. Su Yuan hurriedly picked up Lu Chen with its mouth and broke out of the encirclement with him. Fortunately, Lu Chen had severely injured the leader at the same time, causing the army of strange beasts to be in chaos. Even so, these strange beasts were still a terrible threat to Su Yuan. All kinds of skills were thrown at Su Yuan. Endless beasts swarmed toward Su Yuan. Before long, Su Yuan's body was covered with wounds. Lu Chen watched Su Yuan desperately protect its master. If this went on, they would all die here. But at this moment, his body was as heavy as lead, and he could not even lift his hand. Sky Thief, quick, that talisman. A talisman appeared in front of Lu Chen. Lu Chen could not move, and his spiritual energy was scattered, so he could not activate the guiding talisman. Su Yuan, on the other hand, could not activate the guiding talisman. When Lu Chen tried several times, the rocks under the altar suddenly moved, and a bloody claw stretched out from the pile of rocks. "I'm going to kill you." The leader's voice was heard. He had recovered before Lu Chen. Lu Chen opened his eyes wide. If they did not leave now, they would not be able to leave at all. At this moment of life and death, Lu Chen's left arm suddenly moved, and the spiritual energy in his left arm began to return to normal. At this critical moment, the emptiness of gods and demons' arm recovered before Lu Chen's body. Lu Chen raised his left arm and pressed it on the guiding talisman. However, the talisman did not respond. "Damn it! I don't have enough spiritual energy to activate the talisman." Lu Chen cursed. He could not believe that one day he could not even activate a talisman because of insufficient spiritual energy. Seeing that the leader of strange beasts was about to come out of the rubble, Lu Chen's mind raced. The spiritual energy in his body was too chaotic, and the only thing he could use was some low-level cultivation methods. Thinking of this, Lu Chen gritted his teeth and tried his best. 3 lives reincarnation, triple door, entanglement of spider silk, Suyungo, cobweb entanglement? In Layer 1, this was the first boss skill that Lu Chen had obtained. Lu Chen would never have dreamed that he would actually use this skill to deal with an exotic beast comparable to a 5-star Sengoku. However, although the entanglement of spider silk's level was low, it had the advantage of catching the beasts off guard, or perhaps the beasts weren't on guard against Lu Chen at all. It actually managed to trap the beasts in the front row. The beasts were enraged and broke free from the entanglement of the spider silk. However, as soon as they broke free, they discovered that the traitor exotic beast had already escaped the encirclement with the human in its mouth and was teleporting away. Roar! Tens of thousands of exotic beasts pounced in the direction the two of them had escaped. With such a low-level teleportation skill, it would not be easy to escape from their clutches. Lu Chen's spiritual energy was slowly recovering, at least enough for him to continue using the triple door. A few minutes later, Lu Chen finally sorted out the spiritual energy in his body and quickly withdrew the suboriginator. 9 void steps. Lu Chen's speed suddenly increased. However, the army of exotic beasts behind him was in large groups. Wherever they passed, the dense forest was flattened, and the ground rumbled. Their momentum was mighty. After all, Lu Chen was seriously injured, and his speed could not be any faster. If he wanted to completely get rid of the army behind him, his only chance was to find the guy he had only met twice. He took out the traction talisman again. However, the battle on the other side of the crack should have lasted for half an hour. Was that guy still there? Lu Chen did not care so much. He pressed one hand on the talisman. This time, the talisman glowed slightly, waiting for the response of the person thousands of miles away. The battle on Lu Chen's side was extremely fierce, and the battle on the other side of the crack was not easy either. Mu Long and a woman were surrounded by 8 exotic beasts. That woman was the one who had supported Lu Chen to join the team. At this time, Mu Long and the woman had been hit in many places. Their long robes were stained with blood, and their strength had been greatly reduced. Mu Long, there are more and more exotic beasts. If we don't leave now, we won't be able to leave. The woman said anxiously. Feng Wu, you go first. I promised Solipsistic to wait for him for 2 days. Mu Long forced back an exotic beast with his sword. At the same time, it affected the wound under his ribs. He hurriedly swallowed an elixir and pressed on the wound. Don't joke around. Who can last 2 days here? Feng Wu shouted. We've waited for him here for almost half an hour. We've done our best. Since I promised him, I won't break my promise. Mu Long said firmly. You go first. Don't stay here and die with me. Mu Long's words seemed to indicate that he was prepared to die here. Feng Wu was angry and anxious. Why must you wait for him? We've known each other for 200 years, and I've never seen you sacrifice your life for someone. Because he's our hope. Mu Long suddenly said the reason. I used to be a genius, but after becoming an immortal, I realized something. Even after becoming an immortal, you and I are nothing more than Jiutian playthings. We've indeed become stronger step by step, But think about it. Do we really have the ability to change anything? No, we haven't changed anything. We're just following the Jyotian rules. But that person is different. He's walking a different path from us. I just want to see if he can find the answer that I've been looking for. The ultimate answer of the Jyotian. Feng Wu fought off 2 exotic beasts as she spoke, but her mind wasn't on the enemy at all. Mu Long's words were like an electric shock to her. It turned out that Mu Long really admired Lu Qin, but that was his real purpose. Mu Long stumbled after fighting off 2 exotic beasts and smiled. I've lived by the rules for hundreds of years. So what if I die? I'm not afraid of death. What I'm afraid of is that I'll continue living like this. In the distance, a large exotic beast had just torn a Sengoku to pieces. Seeing that there were 2 more prey here, it ran toward them on all 4s. Seeing this, Feng Wu came back to herself and cried out, "Shit, it's the leader of the exotic beasts. That guy is as capable as a level 7. Just then, Mu Long was dazed for a moment, then quickly took out a traction talisman. The talisman lit up. That guy. Mu Long's eyes widened, and he immediately injected spiritual essence into the talisman. Thousands of kilometers away, the 2 of them activated the traction talismans at the same time. Instantly, a dazzling white light burst out. The next second, all the exotic beasts in front of the level 9 altar looked ahead in bewilderment. The prey they had been chasing had suddenly disappeared. The rocks under the altar were finally blasted away. Seeing the white light, one of the beasts roared. At the same time, the large exotic beast pounced, only to realize that it missed its target. That white light had blocked its vision, and the woman had taken the man far away to avoid the attack. However, there was another person in front of the man. Mu Long was still there. Lu Qin looked around and saw that everything was in chaos. Mu Long had used up too much spiritual essence and was on the verge of collapsing. Lu Qin carried Mu Long on his back and said to the woman, "What are you waiting for?" After saying that, he grabbed the woman's hand and ran toward the crack without giving her any chance to explain. Chapter 1306. Lu Qin wasn't in a good state either, but it wasn't hard for him to escape from a dozen beasts. After a few leaps, Lu Qin had already reached the crack. The beasts behind him couldn't catch up anymore. Lu Qin didn't even look back as he charged into the crack. In less than 2 minutes, Lu Qin brought Mu Long and Feng Wu out from the other side of the crack. The humans and demons formed a line of defense. Many people were helping Sengoku, who was returning from the crack. At the same time, they were guarding against the beasts coming from the other side. However, even though they were defending the crack, the humans and demons were defending their own areas. Even the major forces only cared about receiving their own people. Lu Qin didn't belong to any force, and no one was helping him out. He brought Mu Long and Feng Wu into the humans' immortal realm, found a place where no one was looking, and used the teleportation talisman to return to the immortal spirit grotto heaven. "Hey, you can let go of my hand now." Feng Wu stood in place, unwilling to move forward. Lu Qin was stunned. Only then did he realize that he hadn't let go of Feng Wu's hand, and now his hands were sweaty. "I'm sorry, I was nervous and forgot that you and Mu Long are immortal partners, right? I didn't mean to." Lu Qin was a little flustered. While Mu Long was unconscious, he took advantage of his immortal partner. This was a little inappropriate, and he had to explain it clearly. Mu Long's cave residence and mine are not far from each other, and our strength is similar, so we often spar or team up. Feng Wu said, "He can be considered my only friend in the 7th layer of heaven." Lu Qin frowned slightly. "You're willing to stay with him until the end, so you're also a friend of life and death." Feng Wu smiled helplessly. In the 7th heaven, it's already rare to have a friend of life and death. Everyone wants to climb the path of immortality. How can there be a friend of life and death? Lu Qin felt that the relationship between the 2 wasn't ordinary, but since she told him so much, he didn't ask anymore. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Feng Wu looked up at the cave in front of her. "Is this the cave you took from Mu Long?" Lu Qin smiled. "Yes, I originally wanted to send Mu Long back to Grand White Grotto Heaven, but I was a little worried, so I decided to bring him to my cave abode first. Lu Chen didn't understand the feelings of these immortals and said, let's go back to the cave abode first. The cave abode is full of spirit power, you and Mu Long can have a good rest. Feng Wu didn't want to go to Lu Chen's cave, but seeing the unconscious Mu Long, she was a little worried. In the end, she entered the cave with Lu Chen. In the immortal spirit paradise, Jiao, Yi Fan, and Ling Long were all cultivating in the cultivation room. When Li Shang and the others saw Lu Chen carrying one and carrying another back to his cave, they hurried over. This is... Li Shang looked confused. When Lu Chen left, he was alone. Why did he come back with 3 people? Moreover, putting aside the unconscious person, although the other woman was just standing on the side, they could feel the terrifying pressure coming from her. Sengoku. Jin Luan's eyes widened. Lu Chen brought back 2 Sengoku? Lu Chen said hurriedly, Uncle Li, hurry and bring little green here. Okay, I'll go now. There were many chambers in the immortal spirit grotto heaven. They found a chamber, and Lu Chen put Mu Long down. Lu Yi came back from the herb garden. As soon as the little furball saw Lu Chen, it excitedly jumped onto Lu Chen's shoulder and rubbed its furry little head affectionately against Lu Chen's cheek. The little guy had been following Lu Chen's orders to keep Lu Yi safe. Now that it finally saw its boss, it abandoned Lu Yi. Little Green checked Mu Long's condition. The external injuries weren't serious, but his spiritual core was slightly damaged because of the lack of spiritual essence. Lu Yi fed him some pills, and he would be fine after some rest. Little Green looked at Feng Wu. Miss, you're injured as well. Do you want me to take a look at you? Miss? Feng Wu was surprised. It had been a long time since anyone had called her that. She didn't refuse. Little Green checked her condition and gave her some pills. After taking them, Feng Wu nodded at Little Green. Thank you very much. Mu Long and Feng Wu settled down for the time being. Lu Chen led Little Green back to his room and summoned Originator. Although Originator still looked like a beast, both Little Green and the little fluffy ball could tell from its gentle eyes that it was Originator. Seeing that Originator was covered in wounds, the little fluffy ball jumped to Originator's side and rubbed its head against Originator, as if to comfort it. Lu Chen said anxiously, Little Green, Originator was hit by a lot of elemental attacks, and it's recovering very slowly this time. Little Green checked Originator's condition right away. The wounds caused by the elemental attacks can't be healed with recovery pills. Different elements require different pills. Little Green frowned. Boss, I don't think I can get so many pills at once. Lu Chen said anxiously, then, is there any other way? Oh, right, I have a lot of herbs here. Take a look. Lu Yi shook her head. Boss, it's not about the herbs. It's about the formulas. I only have a dozen formulas for immortal elixirs. Lu Chen looked at Originator sympathetically. Normally, its wounds would have healed by now, but Originator had been hit so many times that it showed no signs of recovery. If this went on, even Originator wouldn't be able to hold on. In terms of size, Originator was already a size smaller than when it had first turned into a beast. The essence of nature was nurtured by spiritual essence, and it seemed that Originator was using spiritual essence to fight off the elemental attacks. The wounds are still worsening. Little Green said with concern as he examined Originator's wounds. Lu Chen looked at Originator with tears in his eyes. If it hadn't been for Originator, he would have died in the other world. Stroking Originator's head, Lu Chen said anxiously, No, I have to save it. Little Green, is there any other way? I don't care what it takes. Lu Yi frowned. She was also worried. There's more than one way. Besides taking elixirs, we can also use spiritual essence to help Originator recover. But these elements are different. There are at least hundreds of them, and I have never seen some of them before. It should be a mixed elemental attack. But where can we find so many people to help us? What? You mean spiritual essence can help Originator recover? Lu Chen widened his eyes. Yes, but there are so many elements. Lu Chen interrupted Little Green and said anxiously, I can do it. Teach me how to do it. Boss, don't you only have ice and fire elements? It's a long story. Just teach me how to heal Originator first. Lu Chen rolled up his sleeves and said to Little Furball, "Little Furball, go and call Little Furball." Soon, Little Furball came back hurriedly. "Dad, you finally... Originator?" Little Furball was immediately attracted by the severely injured beast on the stone bed. He rushed over with red eyes. "Originator, is that you? What happened to you?" "Originator. Stop shaking him. Originator is not dead yet. If you shake him again, he will be in danger." Lu Chen didn't have time to explain. "Little Furball, support Originator." After that, Lu Chen sat behind Originator and pressed his palms on his back. "Little Green, let's start." Lu Chen concentrated. Chapter 1307. To heal the wounds of the source with the power of different elements, one had to control his spiritual power perfectly. Lu Chen didn't dare to be careless. Following Little Green's instructions, he healed the wounds of the source one by one. 1 hour, 2 hours. Lu Chen was sweating profusely. 3 hours, 4 hours. With the help of the Jiutian star, Lu Chen changed his spiritual power affinity according to the wounds. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, the two extremes of yin and yang, ice, thunder, and poison. Some elements were mixed, and he had to change them to coexist. This was an extremely complicated operation. Every meridian, blood vessel, and muscle couldn't be wrong. Lu Chen had just returned to the cave abode and was not in a good state, which made it more difficult to heal the source. However, Lu Chen persisted. 5 hours later, the wounds of the source were basically healed. Just as Lu Chen was about to stop, he suddenly noticed that the spiritual power in the source was changing strangely. Lu Chen, who was exhausted, immediately cheered up and called Little Green, "Little Green, what's wrong with the source? The spiritual energy in its body is rapidly changing. Is there something wrong with my operation?" Little Green checked the source and asked in confusion, "Boss, there seems to be nothing wrong with the source. Are you sure the spiritual power in its body is changing?" "I'm sure." Lu Chen said anxiously, "It seems to be copying the elemental power that I left in its body." Lu Yi frowned and said, "Elements are different combinations of spiritual power. The source is the essence of heaven and earth. It can imitate different elements as long as its spiritual power circulation structure is changed. However, it couldn't imitate the elemental power before. Why can it do it now?" "Boss, could it be that Little Originator has leveled up?" Lu Chen was stunned. "Upgraded? Where's the source? Is it awake? Are you sure it's okay?" Hearing their conversation, the furry ball sniffed the source curiously. "Sweet, sweet, sweet." The Originator smelled good. It was still alive. Little Furball didn't eat dead things. If it found something fragrant, it meant that Little Originator was definitely still alive. However, Lu Chen was speechless. Sure enough, in the eyes of the Little Furball, they were still food. Little Green checked Sprout's condition again. "Boss, I'm sure Sprout's body is fine. If I'm not wrong, Sprout is evolving. How much longer can you last?" Lu Chen gritted his teeth and said, "Don't worry about me, I can hold on." Then increase the output of spiritual power as much as possible. It might be helpful for the evolution of the suboriginator. I'll keep an eye on it. Lu Chen nodded. He pulled himself together and started to infuse the suboriginator with all kinds of elemental power. Lu Chen didn't need to be as cautious as before now that Lu Chen had recovered from his injuries. However, he still had to be careful when infusing spiritual energy into the origin. The next day, Mulong woke up. As soon as he walked out of his room, he saw Feng Wu coming out of her room at the same time. "You're awake." Feng Wu smiled. "Why are you here?" "You have to be cautious. I was worried that someone might set you up." Feng Wu went up to Mulong as she spoke, and the two of them sat down in the pavilion by the stream. Mulong smiled. "I see that you were worried for nothing." Feng Wu nodded. "Sort of. You weren't wrong this time." "I was wrong. Solipsistic doesn't live up to his name. I don't think he's that arrogant." Mulong shook his head with a smile. "You didn't see how arrogant he was the other day. When he fought me for the cave abode, he was able to intimidate all the other immortals, including Sengoku. How dare you say he's not arrogant? He's so arrogant. Feng Wu smiled. By the way, he asked me if I was your partner. Mu Long turned to Feng Wu and looked a little embarrassed. Why did he ask that? When we escaped from the crack, you were unconscious, and he took me all the way to the cave abode. What? Mu Long jumped to his feet. That brat. When Mu Long realized what was going on, he saw Feng Wu snickering. Wait, she was exposed. All right, don't be mad. Feng Wu still had a smile on her face. It was an emergency, so he didn't have time to think about anything else. Plus, he was injured as well. I think he carried you on his back all the way and refused to hand you over to me. Mu Long thought about it and realized that she was right. He was about to lose his life, so he didn't have time to think about anything else. For Feng Wu to speak up for him, that guy must have a good character. Plus, I'm not your partner. What's wrong with holding hands? Feng Wu looked at Mu Long with a half-smile. Mu Long sucked in a breath of air. What a good general. Mu Long couldn't win against that woman, so he could only change the topic. By the way, where's that brat? He used too much spiritual power to save his battle pet. He doesn't seem to be in a good condition. There's an alchemist treating him. After that, Feng Wu rose to her feet and said quietly, Mu Long, we've been in the seventh heaven for hundreds of years. Have we ever seen anyone save a battle pet at the expense of their own safety? Mu Long thought for a moment. I've seen plenty of people save battle pets, but no one would do it at the expense of their own safety. Feng Wu nodded. That's right. I haven't seen such a fool in years. Mu Long, I suddenly understand why you saved him at all costs. Let's stay here for a couple of days and wait for that guy to wake up. Yes, I was thinking the same thing. They waited for 3 days. 3 days later, Lu Chen finally woke up. As soon as he opened his eyes, Lu Chen saw a group of people around his bed, which gave him a fright. Hey, why are there so many of you here? Lu Chen sat up. It's as if I'm going to die. Dad, you're finally awake. Where's Yuan? Yuan and Rhubarb are in the cultivation room, said Lu. Boss, don't worry. They're fine. What about Mu Long? At this moment, someone walked in from outside the door. I woke up the next day. You should be more concerned about yourself than about me. Mu Long and Feng Wu walked in together. Mu Long looked at Lu Chen and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You brought me back, but you were in a coma for even longer than I was. We've been waiting for you for 3 days. Is this how you treat your guests? Lu Chen smiled. It's not a bad idea to stay longer. Look at the cave I took from you. What do you think? Although the two of them had only just met after the battle in the other world, the two of them had become sworn friends. Since they were friends of life and death, Lu Chen returned to his original nature and couldn't help but tease this immortal king. Mu Long threw a dirty look at Lu Chen. You're still in the mood to tease me? It seems that your injuries aren't serious enough. Let me tell you, I just didn't want to fight to the death with you at that auction. Mu Long sneered. Hey, I'm not joking with you. Have you been to the rank 9 altar? Lu Chen nodded. Yes, I stole their altar spirit and was chased by millions of beasts. Fortunately, I had your guiding talisman. Did you find anything? Lu Chen thought for a moment. Yes, a little, but it's hard to tell. Oh, by the way, I didn't ask clearly, but I know what the beasts want to do. What do they want to do? They seem to want to wake up the Void Chaos Fiend. Void Chaos Fiend? Mu Long and Feng Wu exclaimed at the same time. Chapter 1308. Mu Long also saw everyone's astonishment. He looked at Lu Chen and said, Solipsistic, when you fully recover, we will tell you more about this Void Chaos Demon God. That night, Yi Fan and the others came out of the cultivation room. After knowing that Lu Chen had returned, they hurried to Lu Chen's room. Lu Chen was no longer in a serious condition. He casually described the process of the crack. However, when he talked about snatching the right to use the level 9 altar, the three of them were still shocked. Escaping from under the nose of a mutated beast whose strength is comparable to a 5-star Sengoku. Master, you are too strong. Lu Chen did not mind. Don't talk about me. How is your cultivation? How long will it take to unlock the second level of the Special Cultivation Pagoda? Jiu and Ling Long looked at Yifan. Yifan said embarrassedly, Master, I have already unlocked the second level. Lu Chen was also shocked. It has only been a month. Even if the first level's time ratio is 1:5, you have only cultivated for half a year. You have already unlocked the second level? Yifan smiled. Master, this cultivation pagoda does not look at cultivation level. It looks at potential. I did not spend much effort to unlock the second level. The second level's time ratio is 1:10. The effect is not bad. I was trying to break through to the third level these few days. Then, junior brother Little Beast secretly came in and said that you were back. So we hurried back. Lu Chen looked at Yifan in astonishment. He did not expect that the one who broke through to the second level was Yifan. Jiu? Or had the dark erosion set? Ling Long had a mysterious background and her strength was already a 5-star true immortal. Her potential was not weak either. She was a 9 tribulation true immortal. In the end, among the three of them, Yifan was the first to break through to the second level. This kid was quite strong. At this moment, Mulong and Feng Wu also came to Lu Chen's room. When Mulong came in, he could not help but size him up. Mulong, Feng Wu, you're here. Let me introduce you. Lu Chen introduced both sides at the same time. Ling Long cupped her fists and said, I didn't expect to meet two famous Sengoku here. Jiu also said, for the two of you to lend a helping hand at such a critical moment, Jiu is truly grateful. Yifan also cupped his fists. Thank you, seniors, for your assistance. Mulong smiled, you're welcome. When we passed by earlier, we unintentionally overheard you talking about the Special Cultivation Pagoda. We couldn't help but be curious and would like to ask this little friend Yifan. Senior, please ask, Yifan said politely. How many true immortals have you passed? Yifan turned to look at Lu Chen. He was a 10 tribulation true immortal. However, in order to avoid trouble, he usually told others that he was a 9 tribulation true immortal. Lu Chen nodded at him. It's okay. Mulong and Feng Wu are both my friends. Just tell them the truth. Since his master said so, Yifan naturally didn't have to hide it anymore. Senior, I'm a 10 tribulation true immortal. 10 tribulation? Feng Wu's eyes widened. No wonder you could easily break the seal of the Special Cultivation Pagoda. Yifan smiled embarrassedly. Senior Feng Wu, you flatter me. Actually, Sister Jiu and Sister Ling Long only almost passed. It's just that my luck was slightly better and I broke through first. Huh? Are you being too modest, or is that the truth? Could it be that these two are also 10 tribulation true immortals? Feng Wu didn't believe it. Sister Jiu is also a 10 tribulation true immortal. Although Sister Ling Long is a 9 tribulation true immortal, her comprehension and learning time are above us. Feng Wu's eyes widened. I seem to have heard of you before. You're from the Guling family? Ling Long bowed slightly. Senior Feng Wu's vision is extraordinary. Ling Long is indeed from the Guling family. Feng Wu and Mulong looked at each other. Mulong couldn't help but shake his head. Two of you are 10 tribulation true immortals and a junior of the Guling family. With this lineup, you can be considered a top team even in the human realm. The three of you are actually willing to follow Solipsistic? Yifan, you're his disciple? Your potential is 1 in a million even among geniuses. Mulong couldn't help but voice his thoughts. Feng Wu also agreed. This is the first time I've heard of a true immortal calling a mortal master. Moreover, it's such a rare genius true immortal. Yifan smiled awkwardly. Senior, you're exaggerating. In front of Master, Yifan's ability isn't worth mentioning. Lu Chen frowned. Hey, what are you guys doing? Are you trying to steal my people? Mulong smiled and shook his head. I have no intention of taking in disciples. Moreover, I'm afraid I can't take in these 3 people. I'm just afraid they'll be deceived by you. Feng Wu looked at Mulong in surprise. This guy usually didn't smile, but when he saw Solipsistic, he actually bickered with him. It was really rare. I'm here to tell you about the Void Chaos Demon God. Mu Long looked at Yi Fan and the others. Lu Chen said, "Everyone in the immortal spirit grotto heaven is one of us. There's no harm in saying it." Mu Long nodded. Everyone sat down and listened to Mu Long describe what they knew about the Void Chaos Demon God. It turned out that Mu Long and the others had also activated a few low-level altars during their trip to the crack world. Because they were in a small team, they could change people to continuously summon the altar spirits. The information they obtained was much more than Lu Chen. Other than relying on sacrificing worlds to occupy more planets, the Jiutian also seems to be constantly expanding and swallowing more worlds. However, the process isn't smooth sailing. Mu Long said, "Just like the crack world we went to this time, there were hundreds of millions of powerful beasts living in it. The Jiutian didn't manage to swallow this world. The Void Chaos Demon God was originally the guardian of the Void Chaos Demon God. In order to protect that world, he didn't hesitate to become a demon god and defeated the Jiutian experts." Lu Chen frowned. There were hundreds of millions of beasts left now, and this was the number after reproducing for an unknown period of time. One could imagine how heavy their losses were back then. Not to mention less than 10%, there was probably less than 1% of them left. Those strange beasts are trying to awaken the Void Chaos Fiend Celestial. "Perhaps it's to take revenge on the 9 heavens," said Mu Long, "including their indiscriminate killing of immortal kings. It should also be because of hatred. The Void Chaos Demon God has already become a demon. In order to avoid destroying his own world, he chose to seal himself. In the past 1,500 years, his demonization has become deeper and deeper, but he has always been in a state of slumber." Lu Chen frowned. "So, once the Void Chaos Demon God wakes up, the consequences are unpredictable?" Mu Long said, "That's right. But we know that the crack was also created by those beasts. Since they can do it once, they can do it again. It's the same for the level 9 altar. They failed this time, but it might not be the same next time. At that time, I estimate that even if the Void Chaos Demon God destroys the crack world, he will enter the 7th heaven through the crack. I'm afraid it will be a disaster for us." Yi Fan was puzzled. Isn't there a limit to the level of the crack? If the Void Chaos Demon God is extremely powerful, he might not be able to cross it all. Mu Long said, "Although that's true, think about it. How powerful is a person who can protect a planet by himself? When he's strong enough, he can ignore the rules. And the Void Chaos Demon God, after being demonized for 1,500 years, is even more terrifying than before. He might enter the 7th heaven directly through the crack." The atmosphere in the room suddenly became extremely solemn. Once an invincible demon god entered the 7th heaven, no one would dare to say that they would be spared. Mu Long looked at everyone's solemn expression and said, "But don't worry. I've asked. The level 9 altar can only be activated again after 20 years. Even if someone else activates it, it will still be the same. So, at least for the next 20 years, we will still be safe." Lu Chen had been silent. When Jiu saw this, she asked, "Nameless brother, what are you thinking about?" Lu Chen came back to his senses and looked at the grotto heaven outside the window. "I went from the 1st heaven to the 7th heaven like a blind man. I thought I finally saw the Jiutian clearly, but I found that the Jiutian is 1,000 times more complicated than I thought." Chapter 1309. Mu Long brought new information to Lu Chen. After sharing the information with the information that Lu Chen obtained from the level 9 altar, they came to a shocking conclusion. While the Jiutian continent was filled with endless battles, the outside of the Jiutian continent was also filled with turbulence. Lu Chen asked, "Is the crack still there?" Mu Long shook his head. "It closed 2 days ago." Lu Chen frowned. The opening of the crack this time should be an ambush set by the strange beasts to open the level 9 altar. Since the level 9 altar had lost its effect, they naturally closed the crack. Regardless of whether our guess is correct or not, we should increase our strength as soon as possible in the next 20 years to deal with the demon god. Mu Long said to Yi Fan and the rest. Lu Chen suddenly interrupted him. "It's right to increase our strength, but I'm afraid there's something more urgent." After that, Lu Chen told everyone about Qianji's plan for the War of the 10,000 Races. What? There's such a thing? Mu Long and Feng Wu were shocked. Are you sure? This is no small matter. Lu Chen said, that's what Qi Mang said before he died. I think it's more than 70% true, but I can't be 100% sure. So, I plan to look for Qianji in a few days. Qi Mang said that Qianji is in the monster race's immortal realm. If you don't have a visiting token, you might be suspected of trespassing. Mu Long said, trespassing into the monster race's immortal realm would be attacked by everyone. Lu Chen frowned, I don't care so much. I have a debt to settle with Qianji. Feng Wu suddenly said, don't be rash. The monster race is very powerful. There are at least 40 immortal supremes guarding the place. Including some immortal supremes who live in seclusion, there are at least 70 to 80 immortal supremes. Including Sengoku, you can't trespass. How about this? I'll look for Pangu Immortal and see if he can give you a visiting token. With the token, it'll be more convenient for you to do things. Pangu Immortal? Lu Chen seemed to have some impression of this immortal. Thinking back carefully, Lu Chen remembered that in the Whirlpool world, Pangu Celestial Venerable was one of the 10 Celestial Venerables who participated in the final battle. Is Pangu the Immortal's real name Li Yuan? Lu Chen asked. Because this name was very similar to the name of the people on Earth, Lu Chen had a deep impression of it. Feng Wu answered, yes, he's one of the few Celestial Venerables who hasn't severed his ties with the mortal world. His strength is also at the top of the Celestial Venerables. Mu Long and I are his followers. Lu Chen thought for a moment. Thank you. Feng Wu nodded. By the way, do you have any more teleportation talismans for the Immortal Spirit Grotto Heaven? Ling Long took out 2 transfer talismans and handed them to Mu Long and Feng Wu. After the 2 accepted them, Mu Long said, Lone Quang, wait for me for 3 days. There will definitely be news within 3 days. After saying that, he quickly left the cave with Feng Wu. Master, since you're fine, I'll go challenge the 3rd level of the Cultivation Pagoda. Yi Fan said, if we can open the 3rd level, then whether it's the War of the Myriad Races or the Chaos Demon God, we'll have more time to prepare. Lu Chen nodded. Go. Ling Long and the others also went to cultivate. Only Jiao was left in the room. Lu Chen suddenly thought of something and looked at Jiao strangely. Jiao, I just happen to have a question for you. Are you a 9th tribulation or a 10th tribulation? Previously you told me that you were a 9th tribulation. Why did Yi Fan say that you were a 10th tribulation? Jiao smiled. Yi Fan was exaggerating. I've experienced 3 9th tribulation. To be precise, it's 9th tribulation and a half. Lu Chen nodded. So that was the case. Jiao had the complete dark erosion set, so her treatment was indeed different. Nameless brother. Jiao wanted to say something but hesitated. What's wrong? I want to fight in the immortal duel. Lu Chen frowned. Immortal duel? Jiao nodded heavily. The characteristic of the dark erosion is that every time I experience a life and death battle, my strength will increase. Using this method to increase my strength is even faster than cultivating in the cultivation room. Moreover, my world still has more than 10 years of protection. Back then, grandfather and father asked me to nurture the dark erosion to protect our world. Now that I've devoured the dark erosion, I naturally have to bear the responsibility. Lu Chen walked in front of Jiao and looked at her worriedly. Jiao, life and death in the immortal duel is unpredictable. In order to stimulate the dark erosion, you will definitely choose a strong opponent. This is too dangerous. Jiao looked up at Lu Chen with her clear eyes. Her gaze flickered. Nameless brother was worried about her. That was enough. Nameless brother, you don't care about your life to protect your world. I do the same. Lu Chen was still worried and said, I know, but how about this? Let's fight. I think I should be able to exhaust you. Lu Chen's wording was somewhat ambiguous. Rolled her eyes at Lu Chen. What do you mean by exhausting me? That's stimulating my potential. But this won't do. The closer I am to death, the more the dark erosion will stimulate my body's potential. If we fight, I know you won't hurt me. That will be ineffective. Nameless brother, don't worry. Along the way, I've been increasing my strength like this. The dark erosion won't let me die easily. Lu Chen said, when the time comes to protect the coordinates of your world, I will help you. Zhe tilted her head and looked at Lu Chen intently. Will you help me for the rest of my life? Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. If he could survive, he would definitely help Jiao, but the problem was, how long could he live? How long could his lifetime be? If he was gone, who would protect Jiao's world? Jiao's eyes flashed with disappointment. She didn't know what Nameless was thinking at this time. She only thought that Nameless wasn't willing to give her a promise. Nameless brother, I'm just joking. Don't worry, I won't die so easily. I also have many things to protect. And Sister Linglong will also accompany me. Yi Fan has cleared the 3rd level of the cultivation room and will also participate in the immortal battle. Lu Chen wanted to say something, but he also knew that Jiao's potential couldn't be displayed in the immortal spirit grotto heaven. If she wanted to become stronger, she had to take the most dangerous path. Thinking of this, Lu Chen took out some herbs from his storage ring and stuffed them into Jiao's hands. Prepare these. I'll get Little Green to refine more later. Jiao didn't refuse. She accepted the pills and turned to leave. Just as Jiao was about to leave, Lu Chen suddenly grabbed her hand. Jiao turned around in surprise. The soft jade in his hand was warm and fragrant. Lu Chen took a deep breath, gathered his courage, and said, His eyes were full of expectation. Nameless brother, be careful. Lu Chen said firmly. Jiao smiled. Nameless brother, I know. I'll be back as soon as I'm done. After Jiao left, Little Green just happened to come in with a bowl of medicine. He looked back at the door. Boss, why did you make Jiao cry? Lu Chen was dumbfounded. I don't know. I didn't do anything. Little Green didn't find it strange. He said casually, I think it's because you didn't do anything. Okay, take the medicine and go to the battle pet cultivation room. What's wrong with the battle pet cultivation room? Originator is awake. Chapter 1310. Lu Chen gulped down the decoction and rushed to the cultivation room. The originator had turned back into Mo Yang, the white tiger. The little beast was playing with the originator. But this time, it wasn't a normal fight. The little beast used the beast god's flames on the originator. But the originator was perfectly fine. Lu Chen hurried to the originator. Originator. The little beast said happily to Lu Chen, Dad, the originator is no longer afraid of elemental attacks. What? Lu Chen stared at the originator in disbelief. What? The originator told Lu Chen that it wasn't immune to elemental attacks. It was just that the originator was more resistant to elemental attacks. The originator had gained a better understanding of its current situation after practicing with the little beast and the little beast. The originator's basic attributes had been permanently improved. In addition, the originator's skills had been strengthened. The originator was able to absorb about 10% of spiritual attacks, 3% of physical attacks, and 1% of elemental attacks. The ratio wasn't high, but it had to be noted that the effects could be stacked infinitely in a battle. Besides, after the evolution, the originator was able to convert part of the attacks it absorbed into permanent attacks. The ratio was about 1%. Damn, originator, you're so strong after the evolution. Lu Chen was shocked. That was to say, Lu Chen had one more devouring monster among his 4 battle pets. The originator was able to eat attacks directly, raw. What? Your elemental affinity can enhance your master and your teammates? Lu Chen's eyes were wide open. That seemed to be the originator's new skill, which was absolutely amazing. The originator had improved the combat strength of the entire team. The originator was immune to both physical and spiritual attacks. The originator also had a high elemental defense, which could enhance the team's attacks. Also, the originator had a great potential for growth. The originator's evolution was a qualitative change. No wonder the little beast and the others had been attacking the originator. They were giving it more attacks. Lu Chen was in a good mood after seeing little originator become so strong. He hugged little originator's big head and said, "Ah, little originator, we are indeed destined for good fortune after surviving a great calamity. I have advanced by 1 star, and you have directly evolved. Dad, you're biased. Next time, you must bring me along." Little Beastie and Little Furball ran to Lu Chen's side. "Little Furball and I have been bored to death recently." Squeak, squeak, squeak. "I, Little Furball, haven't eaten for a long time." Lu Chen frowned slightly. The materials these two fellows needed to grow were very difficult to obtain in the 7th heaven world. "Don't worry, the two of you. I'll think of something." Lu Chen looked at Rhubarb, who was nestled in the resting area in the distance, and walked over. Rhubarb slept very peacefully. Occasionally he would even snore. It was unknown whether this guy was evolving or just sleeping. This guy, why hasn't he woken up after so long? Lu Chen shook his head. Without Rhubarb's cheers and taunts, he felt a little less motivated to fight. Lightly stroking Rhubarb, Lu Chen stood up. "Little Beastie, if I go out this time, I'm afraid you guys will still have to stay here. You have to ensure Rhubarb's safety." Although Little Beastie was unwilling, after seeing Rhubarb sleeping like a log, it could only obediently accept the mission in the end. "Understood, Thovet. But if you're going to see little brother Yao, you have to call us along." "Got it. If you guys have nothing to do, practice with Little Originator." Not only had Little Originator recovered, its strength had also greatly increased. The huge rock in Lu Chen's heart had finally been lifted. In the past 2 days, he took out all the materials in his storage ring and handed them to Li Shang and the rest to organize. There were many rare medicinal ingredients in this large batch of materials. Little Green looked at the large pile of medicinal ingredients and was so happy that it danced with joy. Lu Chen, on the other hand, was pleasantly surprised to find a heavenly fishing skill book among all the treasures. This was an immortal-level fishing skill book. Lu Chen had nothing to do, so he learned the skill and fished at the waterfall outside the cave abode all day long. 3 days later, Mulong arrived as promised, just in time to see Li Shang and the rest organizing the treasures. He was dumbfounded. Did this guy rob the cave abode of a venerable celestial? "Mulong, Sengoku, you're here? Chin is fishing nearby." Jin Wan greeted Mulong. Mulong nodded and went out to find Lu Chen. In the deep pool where the waterfall fell, on a rock protruding out of the water, Lu Chen was wearing his lonely shadow fishing suit and fishing alone. "You're quite free, aren't you?" Mulong jumped to the side of the rock and stood behind Lu Chen. He looked at Lu Chen's fish basket, and there were a few small fish inside. "You only caught these ordinary small fish?" Lu Chen looked up at Mulong. "I've already asked Uncle Li Shang to take the big ones back to cook. What do you know? I'm fishing for my friends." "Fishing for your friends?" Mulong was surprised. "Yeah, it's a golden carp. It should be in the 7th heaven, but the 7th heaven is so big, and there are so many small worlds. It's too difficult to meet it," Lu Chen said as he kept his fishing rod and stood up. "Is Pan Gu the Celestial willing to give me a visiting order?" Mulong smiled. The Celestial Sovereign said that the 10,000 races are already preparing for the War of the 10,000 Races. This matter shouldn't be stopped, so there's no point in visiting. Lu Chen frowned. "He's not willing to give it? He said that you're just looking for Qianji. This is your personal matter, he won't give you a visiting order," Lu Chen sighed. "Don't sigh. Although the Celestial Sovereign didn't give you a visiting order, it's not like you don't have a chance. He asked me to ask if you dare to accept it." "Chance?" Lu Chen asked curiously. "I can't tell you now. It's about time. If you're interested, come with me to Pan Gu the Celestial Sovereign's place." "Oh, change out of your clothes first," Lu Chen said. "There's no need to change. Let's go." Kai Tian City, one of the 3 celestial sovereign-level cities in the human race celestial realm. The owner of this city was Pan Gu the Celestial Sovereign. Pan Gu the Celestial Sovereign's cave abode was in the center of Kai Tian City. Although the city was bustling, Pangu's cave abode was surrounded by mountains and rivers. Pangu's cave abode was huge, far bigger than Lu Chen's celestial spirit cave abode. Mu Long said that it was a grade 1 cave abode. At this moment, there were 400 to 500 people gathered outside Pangu's cave abode. These people were all Sengoku-level experts. They were facing a tall cave entrance. There were 3 Sengoku guarding the entrance, as if they were waiting for someone. Lu Chen said to Mu Long, "Pangu the celestial sovereign hasn't come out yet? It's not time yet. Not everyone is here yet. Do you expect the celestial sovereign to wait for Sengoku?" Lu Chen nodded. Speaking of which, the celestial sovereign's cave abode is in Kai Tian City. Wouldn't it be exposed? Mu Long smiled. So what if it's exposed? Other celestial sovereigns wouldn't dare to expose themselves, but Pangu the celestial sovereign doesn't care. In other words, who in the human race celestial realm would dare to touch Pangu the celestial sovereign's cave abode? Lu Chen couldn't help but sigh at how domineering Pangu the celestial sovereign was. As they spoke, dozens of Sengoku arrived at the cave entrance, waiting respectfully. Not long after, a low voice came from the cave abode. "Let's begin." A Sengoku at the entrance cupped his fists and accepted the order. He then shouted to the crowd, "Since everyone is here, let's cut to the chase. I don't need to introduce the Death God token. There's a total of 3 tokens. Those who receive the token will need to go to the outer race celestial realm to participate in the immortal battle and set up an arena. You must fight at least 3 rounds before returning to receive the reward. It's up to you which race you choose. However, Sengoku should also know the result of an outer race setting up an arena in your own race. Our human race is weak. In the past, almost no one could fight 3 rounds before being killed by an outer race. Hence, this inter-race immortal battle token is called the Death God token. The Death God token is held once every 10 years. Now, it's our Pangu the celestial sovereign's turn. Now, under my Pangu the celestial sovereign, is there anyone who can receive the Death God token? Chapter 13:11. The audience was silent. Lu Chen frowned. That immortal reverence subordinate only briefly mentioned the Death God token. He did not explain it clearly. He hurriedly asked Mu Long, "Mu Long, do the 3 Death God tokens holders set up their arenas at the same place or separately?" "Separately." Mu Long said, 3 Death God tokens, 1 for each person. The holder of the token can choose their own immortal domain and set up their arena in the immortal arena. They have to win 3 rounds in a row before they can cancel their arena. When choosing an immortal domain, they cannot repeat. Lu Chen asked again, after setting up the arena, do the challengers have any requirements? Yes, but they cannot exceed Sengoku's level. Because everyone who receives the Death God token is below the immortal reverent level, the challengers must also be below the immortal reverent level. Mu Long looked at Lu Chen and felt that there was a need to explain in detail. Actually, each race has an inter-race challenge token. There are a total of 30 of them. Each race's 10 immortal reverends keep them. The 10 immortal reverends take turns to send people to challenge the other races. Every 10 years. Lu Chen said, "So, the opportunity that immortal reverent Pangu was talking about is this Death God token?" "Yes. Then can this token only be used once? I'm worried that Qianji might not still be in the demon race's immortal domain." Mu Long shook his head. "No, as long as you win 3 rounds in an immortal domain, you can leave the immortal domain. The immortal domain will not stop you. They will even stamp your Death God token to prove that you have passed their immortal domain. But if you want to go to the next immortal domain, you have to set up your arena in that immortal domain. So on and so forth. At most, you can go to 5 immortal domains. Why can I only go to 5 immortal domains?" Lu Chen asked. "To restrict those super powerful races," Lu Chen frowned, "didn't you say that there are rewards?" "Of course there are. If you can really pass an immortal domain, the immortal reverent will give you a very attractive reward. 3 rounds is a level 1 reward. 4 rounds is a level 1 reward. 5 rounds is a top-level reward. If you pass more than 1 immortal domain, then you go to a few immortal domains. The rewards will be accumulated until you pass all 5 immortal domains. Lu Chen's eyes opened wide. Accumulated rewards? He had participated in so many competitions, arenas, and other random events, but he had never heard of such a generous reward. All of a sudden, killing Qian Ji did not seem that important anymore. What are the top rewards? Immortal level cultivation methods, divine weapons, immortal caves, pill recipes, rare materials for refining weapons. Let's put it this way. The reward for 3 rounds is equivalent to 3 million spirit tablets, 4 rounds is equivalent to 5 million spirit tablets, and 5 rounds is equivalent to 10 million spirit tablets. In addition, if you win, you can get the coordinates of the challenger's planet, and if you lose, you won't lose your own coordinates. Of course, in the past, the loser might not lose the coordinates, but their lives. After hearing this, Lu Chen pushed the crowd in front of him aside and shouted, "I want all 3 of these Death God tokens." Mu Long was about to pull Lu Chen, but he failed. After hearing Lu Chen's shout, he froze in his position, instantly petrified. He expected that Lu Chen would accept the Grim Reaper's command, but he didn't expect that this guy would lose his mind the moment he heard about the reward. He wants all 3 of them? He had never heard of such a ridiculous request in his life. After Lu Chen finished speaking, the effect was similar to that of Heaven's Wrath's AoE attack. The crowd was about to explode, especially the few Celestial Sovereign subordinates who were guarding Pangu's Grotto Heaven. Their jaws almost dropped. Fuck, after being an immortal for so long, I finally know that there are lunatics in the Celestial Realm. He wants all 3 of these Death God tokens at once. How much does he want to die? Lu Chen did not care what others thought of him, he had already calculated it. If 1 Death God token was maxed out, the income would be 50 million spirit tablets, and 3 Death God tokens would be 150 million spirit tablets. Naturally, this kind of thing could not fall into the hands of others, he had to take all of them. Hey, Senior, I said that I want all 3 of these Death God tokens. Oh, if you have any extra Death God tokens, I can take them too. Lu Chen walked in front of Sengoku who had just spoken. Sengoku's mouth and eyes twitched at the same time. Friend, do you know what you were talking about? Of course I know. Lu Chen put on a straight face. Don't tell me you don't want to stack the rewards. Let me tell you, Celestial Sovereign Pangu is a respected Celestial Sovereign, his words cannot be taken back. The entire 7th layer of heaven is watching. That person took a few breaths and had no choice but to explain, the rewards will not be lacking, but this is not the main point. The main point is that you want all 3 of these Death God tokens. I have been in the 7th layer of heaven for several hundred years, but Celestial Sovereign Pangu has never heard of such a thing, nor have the other Celestial Sovereigns. Lu Chen was also somewhat puzzled. How can this be? Could it be that all of them have mines at home? It is indeed quite strange. Sengoku's face was filled with black lines. His thoughts were not on the same channel as this guy in front of him. Kid, I advise you to stop messing around, this is something that will cost you your life. Whether I die or not, that's my business, you don't need to worry about it. What you need to do is to give me the tokens. Lu Chen said. After thinking for a while, he added, by the way, prepare the rewards, I do not accept credit here. Among the crowd, Mu Long only wanted to find a hole to hide in. He was the one who brought this lunatic here, he could not absolve himself from the blame. Just as Sengoku was about to say something, a faint voice suddenly came from inside the cave. Mu Long, is he the person you mentioned to me? Celestial Sovereign Pangu had spoken. Mu Long hurriedly squeezed out from the crowd and bowed slightly towards the cave entrance. Celestial Sovereign, he is solipsistic. Ha, you are indeed crazy. Solipsistic, the Death God token is not a game. Since ancient times, the human race who received the Death God token died 9 times out of 10, but we still send people out every year. You can say that those who died in battle in foreign lands did so for fame and fortune, or even because they were forced to go to the arena to die. But you can't deny that it was these people who came one after another to let the other races know that the immortals of the human race never feared the immortals of other races. The human race is weak, but we cannot show weakness. Logically speaking, it is not a problem for you to ask for a few Death God tokens, but have you ever thought that if you do not use up all 3 Death God tokens in the eyes of the other races, won't they think that the human race is already afraid before the battle and no one dares to fight? Lu Chen was slightly stunned. The celestial sovereign's words made sense. From his point of view, he must have considered things further than Lu Chen. So, you can have the Death God token, but to have all 3 is impossible. Lu Chen stared at the cave entrance. He could not see the situation inside, let alone the person who was speaking. However, the celestial sovereign's words made sense. It was useless for him to be confident, especially when he knew that the myriad races were planning to start the myriad race immortal war against the human race. If he did not send enough people at this time, it might accelerate the arrival of the final battle. It seemed that the 150 million was gone, however. The celestial sovereign's voice came from the cave again. I can strengthen your Death God token. You can go to at most 20 immortal realms. As long as you have the ability, you can rest assured that I, Celestial Sovereign Pangu, do not lack money, and I will not take credit. Chapter 1312. Celestial Prime. Sengoku, who was in front of Lu Chen, said respectfully to the cave entrance, "Are you talking about the Death God token? That's the Death God token that you personally tested. Even outsiders have to be wary of the Death God token. I don't think this person has even seen the Immortal Road. No matter how terrifying Mu Long described his strength, he's still an itinerant immortal. How can he be worthy of using the Death God token? Celestial Prime, forgive me for saying too much. If he wants to get the Death God token, he has to at least get through me." The voice inside sounded, "It's already been a long time. Hu Xiao, why are you so obsessed with this false reputation?" "It's not just a false reputation. At least for me, I followed you because of this token." Hu Xiao seemed to have recalled hundreds of years ago. When he heard the legend of Pangu Sengoku, the emotions of shock, admiration, and even worship seemed to appear again. He had followed him for 700 years. It could be said that the Death God token was his belief. Now that the Celestial Prime had given the token to an itinerant immortal so easily, he was naturally unwilling to accept it. Even if he had to go against the Celestial Prime's wishes, he had to fight for it. Hu Xiao was Pangu's trusted aide. Even if he contradicted him, Pangu was not angry. "Hu Xiao, why are you so obsessed? You also know that the myriad races, Celestial Prime, please let me fight him." After a long silence, a long sigh came from the cave. "Solipsistic, are you willing to accept Hu Xiao's challenge? I won't treat you unfairly. If you can defeat him, I can reward you with another treasure." Lu Chen looked at Hu Xiao. He had to admit that he had experienced the long-lost human kindness on Pangu's side. He did not dislike Hu Xiao. Instead, he admired him for being able to persist in his belief until now. "Hey, Hu Xiao, how many stars are Sengoku?" Lu Chen asked. 6 stars. But do you think it's too high? Don't worry, I won't kill anyone in front of Pangu's grotto heaven. Lu Chen smiled faintly. 6 star, not bad. What? Not bad? A loose immortal like you actually dares to spout such nonsense. Don't you feel ashamed? Lu Chen wasn't angry. How about this? I don't want to hurt you. Let's compete in one move. Use your strongest move. If you can beat me, I'll give up on the Death God's decree. Arrogant. You think you can hurt me? Fine, one move it is. Apart from not killing you, I won't show any mercy. Lu Chen smiled faintly. But just as Lu Chen finished speaking, a layer of defense array quickly covered the area outside Pangu's grotto heaven. A voice came from inside the cave. It's here. A celestial venerable was indeed a celestial venerable. In an instant, he had set up a defensive array that could withstand Sengoku's attacks. Mu Long stepped forward and looked at Lu Chen worriedly. Lu Chen, Hu Xiao is very strong. He rarely meets a match among his peers. Lu Chen nodded. It was a pity that he couldn't say that he was at the same level as him. After all, no one was at the same level as him. Don't worry, I won't lose. The others retreated outside the defense array. Only Hu Shao and Lu Chen were left in the array. God of Beasts. Beast Blood Retrograde. King of Beasts. Hu Shao continuously activated his enhancement skills. Streams of spiritual energy surged out from his body. Lu Chen, on the other hand, activated divine demon symbiosis, dragon god form, war god possession, and demon transformation. Hu Shao pulled out a tiger-headed saber from the void. It was more than 2 meters long and was even bigger than him. There was a copper ring on the back of the saber. As the saber swayed, a crisp sound of metal colliding could be heard. Solipsistic, remember this. Don't be arrogant in front of me. Hu Shao shouted angrily. Immortal technique, saber domain, emperor dragon slaying saber. Lu Chen's eyes widened. He quickly stroked the body of the long spear with one hand. Suddenly, the body of the void god-slaying spear glowed red. God-slaying spear, heaven's fury spear. With a loud bang, the two powerful skills collided. A white light instantly exploded in the field. A moment later, a figure flew out and crashed into the edge of the defense array. Hu Shao spat out blood. He could not control his body and fell backward. With a bang, Hu Shao crashed into the defense array. He spat out a mouthful of blood. When he looked up, he saw a black spear with a red glow. The tip of the spear was already at his throat. Hu Shao looked at the weirdly dressed white-haired man in front of him in shock. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The man was unharmed under the Emperor Dragon slaying saber. Not only that, but he was already in front of him for the second time. If it was a real battle, he would have been killed by the man's spear. Lu Chen put down the spear and smiled at Hu Shao. How about it? Can you give me the Death Supreme token now? A token flew out from the cave. Lu Chen caught it. It was a token made of black metal. It was different from the wooden token that Hu Shao and the others had shown before. It should be the legendary Death Supreme token. The man in the cave said, I've given you the token. What do you want as a reward? Do you have a pill that can increase elemental affinity by 10,000 points? Lu Chen asked. 10,000 points. You seem to be asking for too much. Lu Chen's fire elemental affinity had reached 60,000 points. Later, in order to cultivate the true fire mysterious ice sword, he had transferred 40,000 points of fire elemental affinity to 20,000 points of ice elemental affinity. Now that he had the Jiutian star, his elemental affinity could reach 40,000 points. Therefore, he did not feel that it was too much to ask for 10,000 points. However, only a few people could achieve such a terrifying elemental affinity. Lu Chen frowned. I want you to help me repair a few puppets and repair my weapons. This request is not too much, right? What puppets and weapons do you want to repair? The Guardian of Earth. My weapon is the Void God-slaying spear that I'm using now. I can provide the materials to repair the Void God-slaying spear. I just need your help. I'm quite useless at refining weapons. The man in the cave was silent for a long time. Then he said, Mu Long can help you repair the Void God-slaying spear. As for the Guardian of Earth, I can't repair it. I can give you 5 yellow earth crystal pills, which can increase your earth elemental affinity by 15,000 points. Lu Chen was stunned. The other party would rather give him pills than repair the Guardian of Earth. No matter what, the other party had given him benefits. Lu Chen could not force him to repair something that he could not repair. Lu Chen said to the direction of the cave entrance. Thanks. Wait! Hu Shao suddenly called out to Lu Chen. Lu Chen turned back in surprise. Don't tell me you still want to fight with me. I, Hu Shao, am not someone who goes back on my words. I just want to know, are you really a rogue immortal? Hu Shao looked at this person in horror. In front of him, he had actually lost so quickly. Lu Chen said indifferently. Didn't Mu Long tell you? King of Savages. King of Savages? Human King Realm. Human King Realm. Hu Zhao's expression became even more exaggerated. This result was even more exaggerated than him being defeated. Unfortunately, Lu Chen did not plan to continue explaining. He turned and walked towards Mu Long. Mu Long, your boss has handed you over to me. If you dare to slack off, I'll cut your wages. Mu Long hadn't recovered yet. More than a month ago, he had lost to Lu Chen, but he had not lost so decisively. In the end, in just a month, this guy had become so strong? What did you eat growing up? Mu Long was shocked. Lu Chen pulled him away. I eat whatever you eat. Let's go. Look at these people's eyes. They look like they want to eat you. Let's go. Chapter 13:13. In the immortal spirit grotto heaven, Mu Long was busy in the refining room. Lu Chen was supervising him. Long, this is the only weapon I have. You have to refine it well. Mu Long stopped and rolled his eyes at Lu Chen. You've been reciting it 800 times. I'm a 5-star immortal refiner. How can I break it? Lu Chen propped up his chin. Long, you said you're very strong in battle. You even have the time to refine weapons to immortal refiner. You're quite strong. Che, this is the normal path of a Sengoku. Alchemy and medicine refinement are the most basic skills. Some people even learned how to refine talismans, mine, plant. Mu Long glanced at Lu Chen and said unhappily, Who's like you? You don't know how to refine pills, and you don't know how to refine weapons. You only know how to fish. For alchemy, I have little green. For weapon refinement, I have you. Let me tell you, fishing is really interesting. When you level up, you can catch rare divine beasts. Mu Long almost vomited blood. What kind of robber is this? Forget it, I don't want to discuss this with you. Hey, you said you only have one weapon now. Do you have other weapons? Mu Long injected spiritual energy to repair the god-slaying spear while asking. I have one more. Why can't you use it? Mu Long asked. This time, you went to the other immortal realms to set up an arena. The battle intensity is unimaginable. No one knows what kind of opponents you'll meet. Even if the god-slaying spear is a rare divine weapon, it can be disarmed or even damaged. You should prepare a backup. Mu Long said strangely, I think your weapon can't be higher level than the god-slaying spear. How about this, I'll do it for free. I'll help you repair that weapon later. Who said I don't need it? Lu Chen said. I didn't have the money to withdraw it before. I made some money in the crack world this time. The war of the clans is about to begin. I originally wanted to save some money to buy a more advanced cave residence. In case I died, Uncle Li Shang and the others would have a place to stay. Mu Long's movements paused for a moment. Although Lu Chen was usually sloppy, he knew his situation better than anyone else. What nonsense are you spouting? Even 1,000,000 exotic beasts couldn't kill you. You're really tough. I'm just saying what if. Lu Chen said, but since the senior immortal has offered such generous conditions, then I don't need to save money. I will withdraw the weapon later. Wait, how are you going to earn money in the Rift world? Why haven't I met him? I killed 100 Sengoku demons, Lu Chen said casually. Mu Long spat out a mouthful of blood. You killed 100 Sengoku demons? In the world of cracks? I only know that you killed Chi Mang. Lu Chen didn't tell him the details before, so this was the first time Mu Long heard about it. Yep, Chi Mang was their leader. If I didn't kill everyone, would Chi Mang be so honest? Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. Qian Ji, I must kill him this time. Mu Long still needed a few days to repair the god-slaying spear. Lu Chen didn't disturb him and went to find a cultivation room. After receiving the death god order, Lu Chen gave up on the idea of saving money to buy an advanced cave residence. He directly withdrew the divine demon limitless sword. After spending nearly 700,000 spiritual tablets, the divine demon limitless sword was finally withdrawn. As soon as it was withdrawn, Lu Chen heard the limitless sword's voice. Boss, how are you using the void god slaying spear recently? Lu Chen quickly smiled. It's mainly because the price is too high. 700,000 spiritual tablets. How could I take out so many spiritual tablets in the past? Didn't you buy the cave residence first? You still have so many materials. You even changed sky-piercing sword to sky-piercing spear. Lu Chen face-bombed. So, the limitless sword wasn't idle either. He was calculating all the debts with him. Cough, right? Limitless, when I went to the extraterrestrial divine demon palace, I got more than 10 pieces of equipment. You haven't eaten for a long time. Fill your stomach first. Lu Chen took out the equipment from his storage ring and placed it in front of the limitless sword. See, I was thinking about you. The chances of getting a true god weapon was extremely low. However, the equipment's level wasn't low. They were at least half god weapons. There were even 1 or 2 god weapons. Seeing that Lu Chen left so many high-level equipment for him, the limitless sword finally felt better. So many. It's a pity that the weapon spirits of these god weapons aren't here. They can only increase attributes but not skills. Those weapon spirits have all become weapon spirit puppets. Lu Chen said regretfully. But it's not bad to be able to increase attributes. Seeing the limitless sword happily devouring, Lu Chen finally let out a sigh of relief. Money really does make the world go round. After taking out the limitless sword, Lu Chen thought for a while. Mu Long still needed a few more days. He didn't have anything else to prepare. So, he took out the psychic immortal jade and the broken fire rod. Lu Chen had to do it personally to awaken the weapon spirits. He carefully placed the 5 psychic immortal jade next to the magic staff. Then the fire rod and the psychic immortal jade reacted. Strands of spirit chi circled around the magic staff before being sucked into the magic staff. When all the spirit chi in the 5 psychic immortal jade was sucked dry, the originally sparkling and translucent jade turned into a dull gray stone. Still not enough? Lu Chen took out another 10 psychic immortal jade. 2 hours later, Lu Chen was crying. Chiu Wei hasn't woken up yet. I only have 20 psychic immortal jade left. This time, he placed all the 20 psychic immortal jade around the magic staff. Strands of spirit chi moistened the magic staff. Suddenly, a voice sounded. Are you the one who woke me up? Lu Chen felt a force suddenly sucking him into another space. He looked around. This place was surrounded by mountains. In the middle of the valley, there was a lake as calm as a mirror. The main spirit vein of the god-devil's sacred courtyard? Lu Chen recognized this place at a glance. Not long after, a crystal coffin rose from the lake. The lid of the coffin opened automatically, and a pink figure came out of the crystal coffin. Chiu Wei. Chiu Wei stared at Lu Chen. She slowly walked over from the lake until she was in front of Lu Chen. No matter who you are, thank you. Chiu Wei bowed slightly to Lu Chen. Senior Chiu Wei is too polite. I was entrusted by Senior Heaven Pilfering. Fortunately, I woke you up. Lu Chen said. Senior Chiu Wei, are you feeling better now? Since I've woken up, I'm fine. It's just that I don't like this place. Chiu Wei looked around and a trace of disgust flashed in her eyes. She waved her arm and the surrounding environment instantly turned into a starry sky. At this moment, Lu Chen and Chiu Wei were standing in the vast starry sky. The main spirit vein of the god-devil's sacred courtyard was where Wu Nian had imprisoned Chiu Wei. She naturally hated this place. Wu Nian has already fallen. Chiu Wei sighed. All of this has finally come to an end. Lu Chen knew that to Chiu Wei, this was simply a nightmare that had lasted for 1,000 years. Now that she had woken up again, it felt like a lifetime had passed. Chapter 13-14. Is Heaven Stealing doing well? Chiu Ming calmed her mixed feelings and looked at Lu Chen. He's doing well. My friend is repairing his Dharma body. Did he recognize you as his master because he wanted you to save me? Lu Chen thought about it. He did not have a transactional relationship with Heaven Stealing, so he had to explain. It's a long story. In short, Heaven Stealing and I got to know each other after a fight. Since I had the magic divine staff, he asked me to wake you up. Chiu Ming frowned slightly. I didn't expect Heaven Stealing to recognize me as his master. Chiu Ming looked at Lu Chen. Back then, he didn't want to recognize me as his master, but I insisted. Now, he's recognized me as his master, but I've given up. Lu Chen understood what Chiu Ming meant. She was not willing to recognize him as her master. If you feel that Chiu Ming doesn't know what's good for her, I can return the spiritual energy. Chiu Ming looked at Lu Chen quietly. Who would have thought that Lu Chen would just smile and say, "Senior Chiu Ming, you're being too serious. I didn't have any additional conditions when I agreed to wake you up. Now that you're awake, I have one less thing on my mind. Once my friend fixes the god-slaying spear, I'll let thieving come and see you." "Senior Chiu Ming, can you send me back? How do I get out of this place?" Lu Chen left the weapon spirit space. The magic divine staff looked better than before, but it was still covered in dust. It was hard to imagine that such an ugly weapon had the weapon spirit of that beautiful woman. Although it was a pity that Chiu Ming was not willing to recognize him as her master, Lu Chen did not mind. Fortunately, Chiu Ming had woken up, so he was relieved. 3 days later, Mu Long finally completed the task given to him by Pan Gu the Immortal and repaired the god-slaying spear. The god-slaying spear's appearance had changed greatly after it was completely repaired. It was completely black with a metallic luster. There were dark patterns on the spear body, which seemed to be some kind of array. At the same time, the god-slaying spear's attributes had increased greatly. Most importantly, Heaven Stealing said that the last 5 levels of the god-slaying spear could be cultivated. Lu Chen, although you can cultivate it, your spear intent has yet to meet the requirements. It seems that you will have to wait until you comprehend spear intent before you can learn it. Lu Chen nodded. He didn't have the time to learn new skills anyway. After that, Lu Chen told Sky Thief about Chiu Ying's awakening. "Chiu Mei is awake. Yes, you should go and see her." "Forget it, I'm not going." "Ah? When I was in the holy courtyard of Wunyan, I looked at her every day. She was just lying there, beautiful and dark gold. But when she woke up, I didn't know how to face her." Lu Chen frowned and was about to say something when Heaven Stealing interrupted. "Lu Chen, there is no future between artifact spirits. Our duty is to protect our master. Her awakening is my greatest wish." Lu Chen took a deep breath. "Heaven Stealing, you know that I won't ask you to always be by my side. Boss, you still have a lot of things to do. Although you have the limitless sword, there are times when you don't need it to do anything. I, Heaven Stealing, can still share some of your burden. After following you on your expeditions, I can see how incredible the challenges you are facing are. I, Heaven Stealing, swear to follow my master to death. The war is coming soon, I don't want to be distracted." Lu Chen was silent for a long time before finally nodding. There were some things that he couldn't force. Since it was Heaven Stealing's decision, he couldn't change it. Moreover, he would always wear the divine staff. As long as he didn't die, Heaven Stealing and Chiu Ying would meet one day. Lu Chen prepared to leave on the same day. Before leaving, Lu Chen went to see Rhubarb. Rhubarb was still sleeping. Based on this situation, it was unknown if he would sleep until Lu Chen went to the 8th celestial layer. The little critter, the little furball, the 3 minor origin beasts, and Lu Yi spontaneously stood in a row. "What are you guys doing?" Lu Chen looked at the 4 in astonishment. "Little Green, why are you with them?" "Boss, I don't feel at ease letting you go alone. I heard that you are going to set up an arena to defend the arena. You must bring me along." "Dad, who are you bringing with you this time? Last time, you brought little Originator. You can't bring it this time." Creak creak creak. Lu Chen couldn't help but want to laugh. These guys were holding it in for too long. "I received the Death God command. Our cave is under the protection of immortal Pan Gu. Moreover, Yi Fan and the others are also at home. How about this, you guys come with me?" "Oh yeah." The little critter and the little kid pounced on Lu Chen. The little furball jumped on Lu Chen's shoulder and danced with joy. Little Originator was so happy that it accidentally stepped on Rhubarb. Later, Lu Chen bid farewell to Li Shang and the others and embarked on the journey to the demon immortal domain alone. 10 wings. With the Death God command, Lu Chen directly summoned 10 wings. With a dragon roar, 10 wings floated in the air. Lu Chen jumped on 10 wings and stood on the dragon's head with his hands behind his back. "Let's go to the demon immortal domain." Roar! With a roar, 10 wings drilled into the clouds. Looking at the distant Lu Chen, Li Shang took a deep breath. "Chen Wu, you must be careful," Yi Fan sighed. "Master's mount is too domineering." "Master, don't worry, we'll take good care of our home." Linglong only felt that time seemed to fly by when she was with Lu Chen. A few months ago, they were still trapped in the Myriad World Labyrinth. Now, the man who was with her had already left on a dragon to conquer the Myriad World Labyrinth. There was a huge defensive array outside the demon immortal domain, but it did not stop Lu Chen. It seemed that it was because of the Death God command. Not long after, Lu Chen entered the demon immortal domain. 10 wings, go down when you see a city. Mu Long said that as long as we show the Death God command, someone will send us to the big city to participate in the immortal battle. 10 minutes later, 10 wings swooped down and found a small city. Above the city, no one was flying. Everyone looked up at the huge dragon. A 10-winged celestial dragon? No way this thing really exists? It actually forced my Kuan Peng to land. I've never heard of any immortal supremacy using a 10-winged celestial dragon as a mount. Who exactly is it? Not long after, the huge dragon disappeared in midair, and a figure fell from the sky. A human. What's going on? Those who can cross the immortal domain's defensive array either have a visiting order or are participating in the inter-clan immortal battle. At this moment, Lu Chen stood in front of the city gate. He looked up and saw the words, 100 Demon City, written on the gate. Lu Chen immediately walked toward the gate. Stop. A mere human dares to enter my 100 Demon City? Suddenly, a group of guards blocked Lu Chen's path. Lu Chen said calmly, I'm here to participate in the inter-clan immortal battle. Please let me through. Inter-clan immortal battle? The guards looked at each other and suddenly laughed. So you're here to die. You can enter the 100 Demon City. We've left an entrance for you humans. It's there. With that, a guard turned around and pointed at a hole in the wall. Chapter 13:15. Looking at the hole in the wall, Lu Chen knew what they meant. The guards were still oblivious to the situation and continued to chat among themselves. The human race is becoming more and more afraid of death. It's bad enough that they can't find Sengoku, but they can't even invite a perfected immortal. Instead, they found an itinerant immortal. Speaking of which, this kid is not very capable, but his mount is really tempting. The legendary 10-winged celestial dragon, even a 7th-stage perfected immortal like me couldn't get it. This trash actually got it. The heavens are really unfair. As they chatted, they finally remembered that someone was standing in front of them. Hey kid, aren't you going to crawl? If a trash like you wants to enter the city, you're only fit to crawl through the dog hole here. Lu Chen smiled and slowly raised his hand. A pitch-black spear slowly appeared. Seeing Lu Chen take out his weapon, the guards did not panic at all. What? You dare to make a move in the Fox Immortal territory? Let me tell you, if you dare to make a move, even the Death God's order can't protect you. We have 1,000 ways to make you beg for death. Lu Chen twirled the spear in his hand. Then, a fierce murderous look suddenly appeared in his eyes. In an instant, the spear shot out like a dragon. The 4 guards were directly pinned to the city gate of the 100 Demon City by the spear. Everything happened too suddenly. This time, Lu Chen did not even give a warning and directly killed the 4 guards. At this moment, countless demon immortals looked at the 4 corpses hanging on the city wall in shock. Their faces were still filled with anger and fear, but at this moment, the 4 of them were pinned to the city gate by the god-slaying spear like candied haws. At this moment, the demon immortals clearly saw Lu Chen kill the 4 guards in front of everyone, but no one dared to step forward to stop him. What's going on? The 4 perfected immortals were killed in an instant without any chance to react? That human seems to be an itinerant immortal, but how could he kill the 4 guards in an instant? His movements are too fast. The key is how dare he? It wasn't until the guards nearby reacted that they cried out in alarm, someone is attacking the city. A large number of guards rushed over upon hearing the news. As soon as they arrived, they saw the 4 people nailed to the city gates, as well as the human who was standing calmly at the foot of the city gates. You who are you? How dare you kill the guards of the 100 Demon City? How dare you? How dare you kill our Yao clan's guards? How dare you? Everyone only surrounded Lu Chen, but did not dare to act rashly. Everyone held their weapons and was 100 times more vigilant, but no one dared to approach. Lu Chen looked at the hundreds of guards around him and snorted coldly. "You asked me what I should do." These 4 knew that I was the death god's messenger of the human clan, but they didn't let me pass and even insulted me. What should they do? Lu Chen slightly narrowed his eyes. Looking at these guards, he said coldly, "I'm the messenger of the death god of the human clan. If you stop me from entering the city, don't blame me for flattening your 100-demon city." After saying that, Lu Chen walked straight to the city gate. With a raise of his hand, the god-slaying spear suddenly pulled itself out from the wall and returned to his hand. The 4 guards fell from midair and collapsed at Lu Chen's feet. Lu Chen did not even look at them. He only snorted coldly and spat out 2 words in disdain. "Stop right there." A tiger demon suddenly appeared in front of Lu Chen. From his attire, it was obvious that he was of a different level from the ordinary guards. The tiger demon stared at Lu Chen, as though he wanted to continue denouncing him. Lu Chen lifted his chin slightly and looked at him quietly. "You want to stop me?" The tiger demon did not reply, and Lu Chen did not speak either. The 2 of them just stood there. Although the 2 of them did not speak, a silent contest was going on quietly, as though they were secretly playing a game. One of them seemed to be saying, "How dare you kill people in the tiger demon immortal territory? How dare you flatten the 100-demon city?" The other seemed to be saying, "How dare you stop me?" After a moment, the tiger demon finally spoke. "You're courting death." Without waiting for the tiger demon to finish speaking, Lu Chen suddenly moved. With a swift shadow spear, he instantly appeared in front of the tiger demon. The cold, pitch-black spear tip was pressed against the tiger demon's throat. The tiger demon's eyes widened. So fast. Lu Chen did not stab the tiger demon with his spear. He just looked at the tiger demon indifferently. "Ask your supervisor to come out." I am." Lu Chen sized up the tiger demon and snorted. "You're not even a Sengoku. Are you sure you're the supervisor? The 100-demon city is just a small border city. There are many itinerant immortals here. I'm an 8 tribulation 8-star true immortal. I was sent here to supervise this city." With that said, the tiger demon tried to take something out from his waist. However, he was a little afraid when he saw Lu Chen's god-slaying spear. I have the City Lord token. If you don't believe me, I can show it to you." Only then did Lu Chen put down his spear. Then, the tiger demon took out the City Lord token and showed it to Lu Chen. Lu Chen nodded. "Since you're the City Lord, I have something to ask you. Let's find a quiet place." The tiger demon now knew very well that the human opposite him had extremely terrifying strength. He did not even have the right to exchange a single blow with him. All he could do was obediently lead the way. Mu Long had said that as long as one was strong enough, one could ignore the rules. After killing the 4 people in seconds, the tiger demon was ultimately defeated by him. Now, the tiger demon could only serve Lu Chen respectfully. "How should I address you, sir?" asked the tiger demon. "Solipsistic," answered Lu Chen. The tiger demon thought for a moment and said, "The 4 of them knew that you were a human's envoy, but they still tried to stop you. It was indeed the 100-demon city's fault for being rude." Lu Chen said coldly, "How should I address you?" 10 tigers. "City Lord 10 tigers, your subordinates tried to stop me from entering the city because of your lack of guidance. This matter is not something that can be settled with just a few words from you." The tiger demon thought that this fellow was really arrogant. He had killed their people in their territory, yet he was not afraid at all. Instead, he was calm and looked like he wanted to denounce them. Unfortunately, due to Lu Chen's strength, the tiger demon could only nod in agreement. "Then what does Sir Lone Quang want?" 10 tigers probed. Lu Chen said indifferently, "City Lord 10 tigers, before going to the immortal arena, I want to ask you about something. If you can provide me with useful information, I can let bygones be bygones." "What does Sir want to ask about?" "I want to ask about a person." Lu Chen said, "The mystic spirit race's loose immortal Qianji came to the demon race's immortal domain a few days ago. Is he still in the demon race's immortal domain? Only then did the tiger demon let out a sigh of relief. Solipsistic was only asking about an unrelated person. Qianji did come to the demon race, but he did not come to our small city. I know some news about him. About a month ago, he left the demon race's immortal domain and went to the god-descendant race's immortal domain. Lu Chen was instantly disappointed. Qianji had already left. He was still too late. Unfortunately, he had the death god's token. Since he came to the demon race's immortal domain, he could only leave after completing the arena. It seemed that he had to speed up. Okay, I understand. Lu Chen said indifferently, now, send me to the biggest city on your side. I want to set up an arena. Biggest city? The bigger the immortal city, the more experts there will be. That's right. Let's go to the biggest city. Lu Chen said with certainty, the human race has been weak for 1,000 years and let the 10,000 races be humiliated for 1,000 years. They even want to start a war against the human race. Since that's the case, I will let the 10,000 races see how prosperous the human race is. Chapter 13:16. The largest immortal city of the demon race was undoubtedly the demon immortal city. There were 4 immortal supremacies in the city alone. Sengoku had countless true immortals. The itinerant immortals could only trade and do odd jobs in the outer city. Itinerant immortal was buying medicinal seeds when he suddenly realized that many true immortal Sengoku were rushing to the inner city. Immortal master, what are they doing? His immortal master frowned slightly, his face also filled with confusion. At this moment, he received a voice transmission. Brother Jade Lizard, hurry to the demon immortal arena. The death god token of the human race uses the death god token of the supreme death god. They've already set up an arena in the arena. What? The death god token of the supreme death god? The true immortal's eyes widened. Flower demon, go back after buying the seeds. I'll go to the arena. With that, he rushed out of the door and rushed to the arena with the crowd. The Demon Immortal City Immortal Arena was the largest arena in the Demon Immortal realm. It could hold hundreds of thousands of spectators. As for the arena, it was prepared for the immortal venerables. Its range was extremely wide, just like a small plain. It was paved with the sturdiest black tortoise stone. There were 3 layers of defensive arrays around it. At this moment, a Sengoku of the demon race was giving an impassioned speech on the stage. Fellow immortals of the demon race, the death god token of the human race has come to the demon immortal realm. This wasn't a funny opening at all, but it caused an uproar. Haha, he actually dares to come to the demon immortal realm. He must be tired of living. I think so. Since he thinks he's going to die, he might as well challenge the demon race. At least he'll have some face. Trash of the human race, your nest is almost gone, and you still dare to set up an arena in the demon immortal realm? Quickly come out and let me take a look. Which piece of trash is this? The host raised his hand and the audience quieted down. Also, he brought the death god token of the human race. The audience was in an uproar again. Is it Pangu's token? Good, Pangu didn't dare to come to the demon immortal realm. This time, he'll leave the death god token of the demon race. It wasn't easy for the human race to have Pangu, who won some face for the human race. But you people are so full of yourselves that you dare to come to the monster race. The host also had a contemptuous smile on his face. Fellow immortals, you all know that the inter-race immortal battle is related to the reputation of each race. Therefore, don't rush to get on the stage. You can only get on the stage after the registration and the approval of the 4 immortal primes. Don't mess up the order just to fight for credit. With that, Sengoku tossed out an image stone. This image stone will transmit the scene of the battle to the human immortal domain. Although the projection stone can transmit images, life and death in the immortal battle arena is not a matter of life and death. As for whether you want to give him a quick death or play with him however you want, that is none of our business. Alright, now, let's invite this courageous human fellow immortal to the stage. When the host said the words, courage and insight, he deliberately dragged out the word. The sarcasm was very obvious, and it attracted another round of laughter from the audience. Courage and insight? Was there something wrong with his head? Amidst the mocking laughter, a tall man in a black robe slowly walked out from the entrance. When Lu Chen appeared, there was already a wave of boos. Human dog, did he come through the dog hole? Yo, am I seeing things? The immortal path is not open? A loose immortal? The human race is too cowardly. They are afraid that Sengoku will die here, so they sent a loose immortal to his death. Do you human scum have any shame? A demon was cursing at the image stone. Human brat, we will definitely make you beg for death later. We will teach you a good lesson. At the same time, in the human race's heaven-splitting city, there were also tens of thousands of people sitting in the immortal battle arena. However, there was no one fighting in the immortal battle arena. There was a projection stone that was projecting the scene of the immortal battle arena in the demon god city. In a glass room high up, there were 3 people standing side by side, all of them watching the image being projected by the projection stone. How are the 3 people you sent out now? The woman on the left asked the man standing in the middle. The man had his hands behind his back and was watching the image on the image stone. At this moment, his appearance could not be seen clearly, only his deep voice could be heard. Among the 3, one went to the goblin immortal realm and was killed in 2 rounds. One went to the water spirit race and was killed in the 3rd round. This is the last one. There was not much emotion in his voice. The last one went to the demon race? The other man stood side by side with the 2 of them. The demon race is not on the same level as the goblins and the water spirits. The man in the middle nodded. He went to the demon race to find someone. After the woman learned the inside story, she did not say much. With their status and experience, there was nothing they had not seen or heard. It was not easy to surprise them. These demons really do not take the human race seriously. They actually dared to openly provoke the projection stone. The human race has been weak for a long time. In the Jiutian, the human race has been in such a state since the 3rd heaven. The 3 of them only exchanged a few words before continuing to watch the projection stone. At this moment, the Sengoku and perfected immortals below the stage also saw the arrogance of the demon race, but they were also used to it. But when they saw the human race man on the stage, some of them were shocked. Is he really an itinerant immortal? What is going on? This year, the immortal Master Pangu is looking for someone. He should not be looking for an itinerant immortal, right? Then won't he be tortured to death? Sigh, not only will he be killed by the demon race, they will definitely not let go of this point and say that there is no one in the human race. In the audience, there were 5 people who reacted differently from the other immortals. Yifan, Ling Long, Mulong, Fengwu. At this moment, even they could feel that the entire world was mocking that man. He had no one to rely on. Yifan, is the projection stone ready? Li Shang and the rest are very worried about Lu Chen. Zhou Er asked. Yifan nodded. It's ready. These human race immortals are really annoying. Master is fighting for the human race, but they are still here making sarcastic remarks. Mu Long suddenly said, these humans have already lost their confidence. This is the humility that has been formed for a long time. With that, Mu Long looked at the projection stone. Lu Chen, come back alive. Not long after, Lu Chen was already standing in the center of the immortal arena. He looked up and saw countless demon race members cursing, humiliating, and mocking him. At this moment, Lu Chen suddenly smiled. Wasn't this what he had been facing all along? Those who mocked him, those who looked down on him, those who wanted to kill him, including those immortal masters who wanted his life, and even the Jiutian. Layers and layers of mountains were pressing down on him. And he had never retreated. Lu Chen cracked his neck and moved his wrists. Then he looked up and shouted at the hundreds of thousands of demon race members. I, the human race, solipsistic immortal, am here. Today, I am here to flatten your demon race immortal arena. Chapter 13:17. Lu Chen's voice reverberated in the arena. Every word was deafening. The demon immortal arena was dead silent. The human immortal arena was also dead silent. Since ancient times, there had been countless outstanding figures. Only one person dared to say such arrogant words in front of all the alien races. Feng Wu slowly turned to look at Mu Long, but her eyes were still fixed on the back of the person in the shadow stone. Mu Long, I finally understand what you said that day. I was wrong about this guy. This guy can be called the #1 madman of all time. Mu Long tilted his head slightly and added, the #1 madman. In the glass room on the top floor, the three immortal supremacies were speechless when they saw this. After a long while, the woman said, this guy is a little interesting. The man on the right said, I only hope that he has the strength to match his arrogance. A moment later, waves of angry shouts, each louder than the last, rose up in the demon race immortal battle arena. Human trash, what did you say? Flatten the demon immortal arena? You think you're worthy? How arrogant. The demon immortal realm has many talents. We're much stronger than you humans. How dare you come to the demon immortal realm and spout nonsense? You're just an itinerant immortal. How dare you? See if we don't tear you apart later. In the face of hundreds of thousands of angry demon immortals, Lu Chen snorted and looked at the host. Hey, let's begin. The host glared at Lu Chen. Great, we can't wait either. If you want to kill this person, report to Bear Emperor Sengoku immediately. This time, the entire audience was in an uproar. When the humans saw the situation over there, hundreds of thousands of people wanted nothing more than to go up on stage and kill Solipsistic. Yi Fan couldn't help but click his tongue. How strange. There are so many people. Master will probably be trampled to death. Jiu looked at Lu Chen nervously. She couldn't help but worry for him. Ling Long stole a glance at Jiu and gently held Jiu's hand. Jiu, don't worry. They have to go up one by one. Otherwise, the entire demon clan will not be able to survive in the seventh heaven. The group attack command is regarded as a violation of the agreement of the myriad races. The myriad races will launch the myriad races immortal war. As long as there are immortal venerables present, they will not allow this to happen. Jiu looked at Ling Long gratefully. Senior Ling Long, thank you. You don't have to call me senior, just call me big sister. Ling Long's words were indeed true. No matter how agitated the demons were, they still did not dare to attack together. Bear Emperor Sengoku received the Celestial Sovereign's instructions and chose a 9-star true immortal for the first round. Under the envious and jealous gazes of the crowd, this lucky man strode up the ring with his head held high. At the same time, their battle records were displayed one after another. Challenger, Bone Demon Sansheng, Immortal Realm, 9-star True Immortal, Immortal Battle Record, 32 battles, 32 victories. Wow, a total of 32 wins. How many immortal wars had this guy fought? Furthermore, it was a complete victory. He is definitely one of the top experts among 9-star True Immortals. Don't you know Sansheng? He is known as the Martial Madman, invincible among those of the same level. He is a 9-tribulation True Immortal. There is no need to use a sledgehammer to kill a chicken. To deal with such a trash, isn't it a bit too much to let Sansheng go up? This is the Celestial Sovereign's intention, don't talk nonsense. At this moment, the information of the defending side also came out. Solipsistic, Immortal Realm, none. Immortal Battle Record, 72 victories. When the group of people saw this line of information, their brains immediately short-circuited. Without an immortal realm, they naturally thought that Lu Chen was an itinerant immortal, and the battle between itinerant immortals did not count. In other words, this guy's battle records were all obtained from the competition with true immortals. Sansheng's immortal battle could challenge low-level true immortals, but Solipsistic's immortal battle had to be a battle of a higher level. And it was a battle between itinerant immortals and true immortals. Moreover, he won all 72 battles. This guy's battle record is real? How can an itinerant immortal challenge a true immortal? Don't be scared by his battle record. Although he is fighting above his level, his opponents are all from the human race. How strong can they be? Yeah, some itinerant immortals in higher tribulations are stronger than low-level true immortals in lower tribulations. That guy is so arrogant, it is not impossible for him to challenge a true immortal. At this moment, Bone Demon Sansheng also saw Lu Chen's battle record. He sneered, "Oh, it seems that you are more powerful than the trash." Lu Chen looked at that person indifferently. "Solipsistic, you can be arrogant in your human race, but your mistake is that you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth and came to our demon race's immortal realm to show off. Sorry, I don't care how many victories you have, in front of me, you don't even have a chance." Lu Chen still did not speak. What? Scared? Where's your arrogance just now? Are you mute after seeing an expert? Lu Chen turned to look at the timer. There were still 3 seconds left. "Don't worry, Solipsistic, I will torture you to death in front of all the human race. I will let those trash know their identity, so that no one will come here to behave atrociously next time." With a ding, the first battle began. Suddenly, a black spear appeared in Lu Chen's hand. His whole body turned into a star state at an incredible speed like lightning and directly shot out the spear. Before Bone Demon Sansheng could finish his words, he felt a fierce spiritual power that was difficult to dodge and hard to resist, shooting straight at his throat. With a poof, Lu Chen appeared behind him in an instant. Bone Demon Sansheng touched his throat. There was already a big hole in it, and blood was flowing out unstoppably. In just a moment, the martial madman, a 9-star true immortal who was invincible at the same level, had been killed. The entire immortal arena was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. All the audience stared with their eyes wide open, looking at this scene in disbelief, as if they were in a dream. Sansheng was killed by an immortal. Lu Chen said indifferently, "Sorry, I am in a hurry and have no time to kill you. I can only kill you instantly." Goo goo. Bone Demon Sansheng still wanted to say something, but he could not speak at all. Only the sound of blood spurting out could be heard. Not long after, Bone Demon Sansheng, a 9-tribulation 9-star true immortal, fell to the ground and died. Lu Chen could not be bothered to look at this person anymore. He looked up at the hundreds of thousands of demon race immortals, and finally his eyes fell on Bear Emperor Sengoku. "Hey, that black bear, I am in a hurry, the remaining 4 battles will come together." After saying that, Lu Chen did not forget to add, "Oh right, don't send this kind of trash." Bear Emperor slapped the table and stood up. "Solipsistic, don't be arrogant. You want to die, right? For battles together? This is what you said. You voluntarily gave up the chance to leave the demon race immortal realm after 3 battles. Fine, I will fulfill your wish. Purple Eye, Eagle King, Yin Tiger, Elephant Deity. For Sengoku, please come out." Hearing these 4 names, even the human race immortal arena was in an uproar. Is this solipsistic crazy? He voluntarily asked to fight 1 against 4? This time he has really angered the demon race. Those 4 are all peak 9-star Sengoku, famous Sengoku of the demon race. Their strength is amazing. A single immortal fighting 4 peak 9-star Sengoku. I am afraid I am not dreaming. Feng Wu said with a trembling voice. He is not only arrogant, he is simply crazy. He has gone mad. Chapter 13:18. The 4 9-star Sengoku entered the arena at the same time. The Fey Immortal Arena erupted in cheers that grew louder and louder. For Sengoku, tear that guy apart. Kill him, kill him, kill him. Rip his heart out, peel his skin, and pull out his tendons. Make him regret saying such arrogant words just now. A human dares to come to our Fey Immortal realm to strut around. We must teach him a lesson. The immortal kings of the 4 great demon clans walked out amidst the cheers of countless people. They jumped down from the stands and stood in 4 directions of Lu Chen at the same time. All 4 of them had obvious animal characteristics. Purple Eye had cat ears and a cat nose, while the Eagle King had wings. Yin Tiger had a tiger head and a tiger tail. The Elephant God was huge, standing over 3 meters tall and covered in grayish-white skin. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Speaking of which, he could also be a fae. After all, in the state of celestial demon symbiosis, he also had fox ears. No, he was not a fae. It was just a remnant of a wild monster's appearance. The 4 Sengoku stared coldly at Lu Chen. The elephant god said in a low voice, "Kid, you want to take on all 4 of us? You didn't expect us to agree to your request, did you?" Een Tiger snorted coldly. "Isn't there a shadow stone over there? We'll let your fellow fae see your end. Otherwise, there will be more and more people like you who don't know their limits. Don't kill him so quickly. Let him enjoy it. What do you mean he can't die even if he wants to?" Lu Chen looked at the 4 of them calmly. "I advise you to do your best. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't have the chance to regret it. Also, that big worm, you're right. In the future, there will be more people like me among the human race, conquering all other races." Purple Eye laughed strangely. "Conquering? You humans don't deserve to be called that. Who do you think you are? Why is the token you have called the death token? Just because you have this token, it's like being named by the king of hell. Death is certain." Lu Chen pursed his lips. "King of hell? I'm sorry, but one of the people I killed was called King of Hell. What I'm holding is indeed the death god's token, but I understand it differently." Lu Chen's lips curled into a faint smile. "Remember, if you see the death god's token in my hand in the future, it means that the death god has come to take your life." The 4 great Sengoku glared at Lu Chen. This person was truly arrogant to the extreme. Arrogant. "I'll tear your mouth apart first." A great battle was about to break out. Everyone was watching the match attentively, not daring to blink, for fear of missing any scene. Ding! The match has begun. All 4 Sengokus activated their status at the same time. Behind them, gigantic life-bound beast god phantoms appeared, surrounding Lu Chen in the middle. If he can fight the Eagle King to a standstill in the air, I'm sure he's not an immortal cultivator. Zitong, break one of his limbs first in case anything happens. Alright. The 2 of them unleashed their spiritual energy at the same time and leaped into the air, planning to intercept Lu Chen in midair. Jiu was already grabbing Ling Long's sleeve tightly. The 4 Sengoku are really working together. They're not giving Nameless a chance to breathe. It was 1 against 4. If the 4 Sengoku were fighting separately, the pressure would be much less. But now, the 4 Sengoku were working together, and their moves were interlocked, leaving no chance for Lu Chen. Oh no, Lu Chen's in danger. Seeing that Yin Hu and Zitong were about to kill Lu Chen suddenly roared and twisted his body in midair. At the same time, he used spiritual energy to form a wall behind him. He himself had to break through 5 spirit energy walls in a row before he was able to stop himself. "The sky is your territory? Dream on." Lu Chen glared angrily at the Eagle King who was flying away. Ignoring the blood at the corner of his mouth, he roared, 9 steps in the void." Lu Chen stepped on the void, and his figure shot into the sky. Yin Hu and Zitong looked at each other and used spiritual manipulation at the same time, using the materialized spiritual energy to chase after Lu Chen. However, their spiritual manipulation was not as good as Lu Chen's, and Lu Chen quickly left them in the dust. "Eagle King, be careful. This guy's spiritual manipulation has reached its peak." Yin Hu roared at the Eagle King. The speed at which they materialized their spiritual energy could not keep up with Lu Chen's. The blood chi in the Eagle King's body was still churning, and his spiritual energy was in a mess. What frightened him even more was that the human itinerant immortal had dissolved the spiritual energy attack of the eagle god capturing the dragon so quickly. He stepped into the air and charged at him again. Lu Chen had been able to stop himself so quickly because he had not hesitated to hit the spiritual energy walls repeatedly, injuring himself. This guy is so ferocious. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chen had caught up with the Eagle King. Lu Chen roared, "Die! God-slaying spear, heavenly fury spear." Chapter 13:19. A giant silhouette of the god-slaying spear appeared in the air. At the same time, the Jiutian star converted Lu Chen's elemental affinity to fire. In the stands, countless immortals couldn't help but stand up and stare at the Heaven's Wrath spear in shock. There was also a glass room on the demon stage. Right now, the three of them were staring at the terrifying attack in shock. Heaven's Wrath spear? This isn't Wild Spear Heavenly Master's move. That black spear, is it really the Void God-slaying spear? Yunling has already reached the transformative stage, and his attack is comparable to a 9-star Sengoku. His fire elemental attack is so terrifying. And Wild Spear Heavenly Master's Void God-slaying spear. Who on earth is this solipsistic? Why does he have such terrifying combat power when he hasn't even opened his path to immortality? What's his fire elemental affinity? Judging from the power of the flame in this spear, it's at least 30,000. The spear of heaven and earth could destroy heaven and earth. Eagle King tried to block it with his spirit shield, but in the raging flames, his spirit shield was instantly destroyed. Then, the black spear flashed, and like a ball of black flame, it pierced right through Eagle King's body. In an instant, Eagle King's entire abdomen was burned to ashes. Eagle King, who was skilled in aerial combat, fell from the sky and landed heavily on the ground. The entire immortal arena was so quiet that no one made a sound, because everyone was dumbfounded by what they saw. Aerial combat? A 9-star Sengoku? 1 against 4? No, that didn't change the final result at all. In the hands of Solipsistic, even a 9-star Sengoku could kill his opponent in one move. In the human immortal realm, the noisy immortal arena was eerily quiet. At this moment, the minds of those who had said that Lone Tyrant was courting death were in chaos. They stared at the image projected by the projection stone with wide eyes, as if they had seen something unimaginable. Their faces were full of horror. It had been thousands of years since they became immortals. Now, there was still someone who changed their worldview. How unbelievable! Feng Wu's mouth hung open for a long time, but she couldn't say a word. After much difficulty, she finally regained her composure and said to Mu Long, "Lu Chen, he killed the Eagle King just like that?" Mu Long was speechless as well. Feng Wu was asking him, but he had no idea. A few months ago, when he fought with Lu Chen, that guy wasn't this terrifying. Feng Wu didn't seem to expect Mu Long to tell her the truth. She only sighed. Oh my god. He killed the Eagle King right under Yin Tiger, Purple Eye, and Elephant God's noses. It was clearly Eagle King and the others' killing move, but they were instantly killed instead. Ever since Mammoth shakes the earth, Lu Chen should have been on the defensive. However, he had forcibly turned the passive situation into an active one. As the saying went, it was better to break one finger than to injure all 10. This was especially true when one was fighting against many. Lu Chen had directly killed one of the 4 Sengoku. Tactics, experience, reflexes, the use of moves, actual combat strength. Lu Chen has no shortcomings in any of these areas. Feng Wu sighed. I can't imagine how terrifying he would be if he really opened the path to immortality. Mu Long finally had a chance to speak. Actually, although he didn't open the path to immortality, he opened a path that no one has ever walked before. Damn it. Can fishing really make someone so powerful? As a Sengoku, Mu Long couldn't help but swear. How could an idler who had reached the immortal level in fishing make such rapid progress? It didn't make any sense. On the other side, Yi Fan heaved a sigh. Master is too powerful. As his disciple, I have to work as hard as I can. I can't embarrass him. On the battlefield, Lu Chen opened his demonic blood bone wings and looked down at the 3 venerated immortals on the ground. He finally had time to wipe away the blood at the corner of his mouth. He didn't feel good after hitting the spiritual power wall repeatedly. However, it was still within acceptable range. Moreover, it was the fastest way to turn the tables. At that moment, the 3 Sengoku looked at Lu Chen in a completely different way. Before, they didn't think much of Lu Chen at all. But now, the 3 of them unconsciously surrounded Lu Chen and looked at him as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Our cooperation should have been flawless, but he actually killed the Eagle King. Damn it, This guy is so powerful. Don't panic. We were careless before. Now, let's show our true strength. I don't believe that there's anyone below the venerated immortal level that we can't kill even if the three of us work together. Just then, Lu Chen swooped down and stood in front of the three of them. I told you to do your best. If you had listened to me, I might have had to waste more energy to kill him. Now that there are only 3 of you left, you have no chance at all. The 3 Sengoku stared at Lu Chen. Lu Chen smirked. What? You don't believe me? With that, Lu Chen swung his left arm down. Instantly, that arm became different from usual. On the human body, there was a demon god's arm. It was huge. Just the arm alone was about the size of Lu Chen's entire body. This is the demon god's arm. No, it's the emptiness of gods and demons' arm. The elephant god squinted. This guy has the celestial demon's heavenly might, the celestial demon 9 transformations, and the emptiness of gods and demons' arm. Celestial demons fate-defying? He collected all 3 celestial demons fate-defying. He didn't use his full strength just now. Lu Chen shook his head and snorted. You guys know nothing about me. Holding the gun in his left hand, Lu Chen's eyes were like torches. Sorry, I'm looking for someone. I don't have time to waste with you guys. This shot ends the battle. This time, the surrounding audience didn't have much of a reaction. After all, they already knew how arrogant this guy was. Anyway, it was only right for him to say something arrogant. Damn it, how dare you look down on us? Just as the 3 Sengoku were about to rush over, Lu Chen instantly sent out thousands of sword chi. Tiger descends the mountain. Saint Lotus Sword Essence. While the opponents were blocking the Saint Lotus Sword Essence, Lu Chen was already accumulating power. Seeing that it was too late to stop him, the 3 hurriedly pushed back the Saint Lotus Sword Essence. Not good, he's going to attack. Use your ultimate move. At the same time, the 3 of them accumulated power and used their ultimate moves. At this moment, Lu Chen had finished accumulating power. The God-slaying spear's body flashed with flames. Void attack, God-slaying void spear, Heaven's Wrath Spear. This time, the Heaven's Wrath Spear's power was even more terrifying than the previous one. The entire immortal arena seemed to have been engulfed in flames. At the same time, the temperature rose sharply. Spiritual energy tumbled and crazily hit the defensive shield. A black and red spear shadow, hundreds of meters long, shot toward the 3 Sengoku. The 3 Sengoku used their ultimate moves at the same time. Immortal Technique, Heavenly Tiger Swallows the Sun, Star Annihilation. Immortal Technique, 9 Lives, 9 Revolutions of Heaven and Earth. Immortal Technique, Heaven Shattering Earth, 10,000 elephants trampling the 3 realms. In the blink of an eye, the Heaven's Wrath Spear collided with the 3 Immortal Technique ultimate moves. Heaven and earth shook. Countless cracks appeared on the ground of the immortal arena, and gravel crazily smashed into the defensive array. Countless people stared at the spear that resisted the 3 demons' ultimate moves. Chapter 1320. With a deafening boom, the defensive array, which was said to be able to withstand the power of an immortal prime, was crazily hit by hundreds of waves of spiritual energy until the first 2 defensive arrays collapsed. Of the 3 legendary defensive arrays, the third one wasn't even activated. As a result, the entire demon race immortal arena was engulfed in a storm of spiritual energy. Hundreds of thousands of demon race immortals had no choice but to activate their defensive shields to withstand the violent spiritual energy waves. The spectator stands were severely damaged, and some true immortals were sent flying. The entire immortal arena was in chaos. However, all the experts who had the ability to withstand the spiritual energy waves didn't care about what was happening around them. Their eyes were fixed on the battlefield. That enormous spear first pierced through 9 lives, 9 revolutions of the universe, and then pierced through Heavenly Tiger Swallowing the Sun, Star Annihilation. After resisting for a moment, Heaven Shattering Earth, 10,000 elephants stomping the three realms was finally unable to withstand the crazy offensive power of the Heaven's Fury spear and the terrifying burning flames, and finally collapsed. The god-slaying spear went straight in and hit the three Sengoku. Solipsistic instantly appeared behind the three of them. After one move, Solipsistic suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale and his body swayed. It looked like he couldn't continue. However, the demon race's desire to see Solipsistic fall to the ground and die didn't appear. He only overused his spiritual energy and damaged his physical body, but he still stood. After a while, Solipsistic's condition improved slightly. He took a deep breath, spun the spear, and then put away the void god-slaying spear. However, the three Sengoku behind Solipsistic didn't have it easy. A big hole was burned in their chests. Their eyes were filled with disbelief, and their bodies didn't move. Solipsistic. Suddenly, the elephant god said, "What level are you at?" "Human King." Lu Chen only replied with 2 words. "Human King." "Human King realm." You're at the Human King realm? But why are you so strong?" "Impossible, this is impossible. I, the great Sengoku, can't beat a Human King." Lu Chen's indifferent voice came from behind. "You all follow the will of the heavens and cultivate to become immortals, but I only seek to have a clear conscience, so I can't become an immortal. However, if anyone tries to stop me, I, the Human King, will kill them regardless of whether they are immortals or demons." Upon hearing Lu Chen's last words, Purple Eye was the first to collapse, followed by Yin Tiger and Elephant God. 4 corpses were scattered all over the immortal arena. Eagle King, Zi Tong, Yin Tiger, Elephant God. The 4 famous 9-star Sengoku of the demon race had all died in battle. The audience was completely silent. The host was nowhere to be seen. Lu Chen staggered to the center of the arena and calmly said to the hundreds of thousands of demon clan immortals, "I, the human clan, Solipsistic, the supreme death god envoy, have set up the arena in the demon clan immortal arena. 5 matches have ended. 5 battles, 5 victories. Is there anyone who disagrees?" Below the stage, there was still complete silence. Who would have any objections now? If all the contestants had been true immortals, they would have been dissatisfied. If the contestants had been low-star Sengoku, they would have been dissatisfied. However, in these 5 battles, the first had been a 9-star Sengoku scouting the way. After that, the Solipsistic had taken on 4 of the demon race's famous 9-star Sengoku alone. There was no victory more convincing than this. In the demon realm, no one below the venerated immortal level could defeat this person. None of the hundreds of thousands of immortals were dissatisfied. In the human immortal arena, tens of thousands of immortals couldn't help but stand up. No matter what they'd said about the Solipsistic before, everyone was now on their feet. Out of the 3 Death God tokens, only 1 Supreme Death God token remained. However, no one had expected that Lone Tyrant would be able to rely on his own strength to sweep through the entire immortal arena of the demon race. Not only had he won, but he'd also established his authority in Demon God City. He'd intimidated hundreds of thousands of demon clan immortals. This Solipsistic is too domineering. I never thought that a single human could make hundreds of thousands of demon realm monsters bow down to him. So he wasn't being arrogant from the start. He was just saying something that he had to win. Whether he's a human monarch or a wandering immortal, the Solipsistic is the #1 human below the venerated immortal level. Jiu stared at the tottering figure. That man had gone to the demon realm alone and faced hundreds of thousands of demon realm monsters, yet he'd stubbornly refused to bow his head. Most importantly, he'd used his own strength to silence all those who doubted him. That the Bear Emperor flashed onto the stage, his eyes fixed on Lu Chen. In response, Lu Chen looked back coolly. "Hey Bear, are you dissatisfied?" The Bear Emperor glared at Lu Chen. He stared at Lu Chen for a few seconds, but Lu Chen continued to look at him calmly. After a moment, the Bear Emperor finally spoke. "Hand over the Death God decrees." "What for?" "I'll stamp it for you," the Bear Emperor said unwillingly. Lu Chen smiled and threw a token to the Bear Emperor. The Bear Emperor took the token and glanced at the rare metal token. Taking a deep breath, he took out an engraved stamp and imprinted it with his spiritual energy. Then he threw the death god decrees to Lu Chen. "Don't let me see you again, or I'll kill you. You can leave now." Lu Chen took the token and glanced at it. There was a small square stamp on it, with 4 words written on it. Demon Race Pass. The corners of Lu Chen's mouth curled up slightly. He waved at the shadow stone and said, "Pangu, 50 million. I'm ready." In the glass room on the top floor of the Immortal Arena, the woman on the left looked at the man in the middle. "That guy is afraid you can't afford the reward." Although the man's voice was still low, his tone was very relaxed. There was even a hint of a smile in it. "That kid, he doesn't trust me? But I really didn't expect him to fight all 5 rounds. I haven't had much money recently. Cough cough, but when he comes back I can still prepare 50 million. The man on the right sounded worried. "I'm afraid that with his personality, he might not come back directly. Pangu, you have to prepare more." Lu Chen kept the death god decrees and shouted, "10 wings." A huge dragon suddenly appeared in the Immortal Arena. Lu Chen jumped on it and sat cross-legged on the dragon's head. "Let's go." Next stop, God's Descendant Immortal Region. Many people heard Lu Chen's voice, and there was another burst of discussion. "What? God's Descendant? Which God's Descendant? Which God's Descendant? Isn't it just the God's Descendant race? One of the strongest races, the God's Descendant race. He's using the Death God decrees. I remember that the Death God decrees can allow him to fight a maximum of 20 rounds. If he can fight all 5 rounds in each immortal region, he can go to 4 immortal regions. Don't tell me he wants to go to the God's Descendant race. This lunatic, he wants to go to the God's Descendant race." Chapter 1321. Solipsistic's first battle had finally ended. The monster race's immortal domain was in a mess. However, they were not in the mood to care about that. Inside the glass room, everyone was silent for a long time. Challenging Sengoku as a human king? What's wrong with this kid? This is no longer a battle of a higher cultivation level. Did you guys notice that he seems to have 4 life-reversing divine demon set? Each life-reversing divine demon set is extremely difficult to obtain. I wonder how he managed to collect all 4 of them. Don't talk about the life-reversing divine demon set. Did you see his 10 wings? Even celestial sovereigns don't have such amount. He, a human king, actually has 1. I didn't expect such a person to appear in the human race. Luckily, he hasn't matured yet. Otherwise, he would definitely be an important opponent in the War of the 10,000 Races 5 years later. 5 years? This person really hasn't matured yet. There were too many discussions behind him. However, Lu Chen did not care about them. He was already on his way to the next stop. Actually, Lu Chen's victory in the Monster Race's Immortal Arena had already proved that he had the ability to complete the 20 battles of the Supreme Death God Order. He only needed to choose some weaker races. However, Lu Chen went straight to one of the strongest races, the God Descendant race. "Dad, why didn't you let us fight?" Little Beast sat beside Lu Chen. "It's not time for you guys to fight yet." Lu Chen said, "I suspect that Qianji already knows my whereabouts. He might have purposely gone to the Qianji Immortal Domain to lure me there. However, I don't think he's really in the God Descendant race's immortal domain right now. This guy is sinister and cunning. He's also good at collecting information. I have to keep a trump card." Qianji was definitely a scheming opponent. He was also very well informed. The news of Lu Chen obtaining the Supreme Death God Order should not have escaped his eyes. However, Lu Chen did not know that Qianji had been playing tricks behind his back. This time, Lu Chen knew that Qianji was the one behind this. Naturally, he had to be more careful. Even in the battle with the monster race, Lu Chen still had many trump cards that he hadn't used. He still had several trump cards that he hadn't used yet. "Dad, if we set up an arena, Qianji will definitely know about it. Won't we be unable to catch up with him?" Little Beastie said. Lu Chen thought for a moment and said, that might not be the case. He's only able to travel through the various immortal domains by using a visiting token, and the visiting token has a time limit. Once the time limit has passed, he must return to the mystic spirit race's immortal domain. Besides, he can't just leave after coming to a place. He also has a mission, so we might be able to catch up to him. Little Beast nodded, his eyes burning with passion. Dad, back then Little Furball and I were defeated by his puppet. Also, he schemed against Dad time and time again. I must settle this debt with him. Lu Chen smiled. Don't worry. When we meet Qian Ji, it will be your turn. This time I must take his head. Little Green handed over a few pills. Lu Chen had used up too much of his energy in the battle with the monster race. Moreover, he had also suffered some internal injuries. However, Lu Chen thought for a moment and pushed Little Green's pills away. Little Green, I can't eat pills now. 10 wings, when we reach the God-descendant immortal domain, find a secluded place. I need to rest for 2 days. Little Green frowned. Soon, he guessed Lu Chen's plan. Boss, are you doing this on purpose so that Qian Ji will know that you have yet to recover from your injuries? Little Beast asked curiously. But Dad, if you're doing this on purpose, shouldn't we go to a bigger city? That way, the news will spread faster. What if he doesn't know that we're resting in the suburbs? Lu Chen smiled. Qian Ji will definitely keep an eye on my movements. Moreover, my whereabouts have already been exposed. With his capabilities, he will definitely be able to find me. The more I hide the fact that I'm injured, the more he will believe it. The more I make a big fuss, the more suspicious he will be. Little Beast nodded. To deal with a cunning old fox like Qian Ji, one must use some tricks. Dad, then, are you going to fight all 5 matches in the God-descendant immortal domain? Of course. Isn't this all money? Moreover, the more I fight all 5 matches, the more confident Qian Ji will be that he knows me well. Lu Chen snorted. Old dog Qian Ji, you like to scheme, right? I'll play with you this time. Let's see who will win. 2 days later, Lu Chen entered the God-descendant immortal domain. Just as Lu Chen entered the God-descendant immortal domain, he noticed that there were people watching him from afar. These people should not be Qian Ji's men. Qian Ji was secretive, but the God-descendant immortal domain did not have the intention to hide. They only watched him from afar. 10 wings, dragon shadow storm. 10 wings roared and quickly hid in the clouds. It was hard to see him with the naked eye. A few hours later, a huge dragon appeared in the sky above a dense forest. The dragon circled in the sky for a while before disappearing. Following that, a figure quickly entered the forest from the sky. However, all of this was captured by some people. Qian Ji, someone found solipsistic. Hei Yen came to Qian Ji's side on the back of a huge turtle. That fella shook off the God-descendant immortal domain and hid in the Tianshan forest. He is recuperating from his injuries. Qian Ji narrowed his eyes. That fella really went to the God-descendant immortal domain? Yes. Qian Ji sneered. As expected of you, solipsistic. You are still so arrogant. A pity. Even if you managed to shake off the God-descendant immortal domain, you did not manage to shake off my eyes. Hei Yen said. From his movements, he seems to be chasing after you. This fellow isn't simple. He's actually able to defeat 4 9-star immortal kings by himself. Chase? Let him chase after me. Qian Ji said calmly. I admit that solipsistic is strong. But as you can see, he is also injured. Qian Ji narrowed his eyes. He sneaked into Tianshan Mountains forest so that I wouldn't know about his injury. Unfortunately, he doesn't know that I have eyes and ears. Nothing can escape from my eyes even if he's thousands of miles away. I can roughly deduce the upper limit of his strength. He might not even be able to defeat the God-descendant immortal domain. Alright, even if he restrains himself a little and doesn't fight all 5 rounds, the experts of the God-descendant race will definitely make him pay the price. With Lone Tyrant's personality, I'll release the news and intentionally provoke him. He'll definitely chase after me even if he's injured. At that time, I won't even need to do anything. Those monsters at the next stop will be able to kill him. Hei Yan did not reply. After all, Qianji was the one who planned this. Lone tyrant, it's time for us to settle the grudge between us. Settle it. You want to kill me? You are not worthy. Chapter 1322. After Lu Chen landed on the ground, he took the elixir Little Green gave him and recovered quickly. Soon, Furball and Originator, who had shrunk to the size of a furball, came out of the woods. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Sure enough, someone was watching them from 10 miles away. Lu Chen sneered, called back Furball and Originator, and focused on healing himself. In fact, Lu Chen had already recovered, but he was not in a hurry to leave. It was not until 1.5 days later that he summoned 10-winged again and left. The demigod immortal realm was several times larger than the demon realm, and the small immortal cities here were much larger than the 100-demon city. From afar, Lu Chen saw a towering immortal city. 10-winged, let's go there. A few minutes later, Lu Chen arrived outside the city. As soon as Lu Chen appeared, a group of guards came to greet him. Compared to the human race, the demigod race's skin was sickly pale in the eyes of the human race, but this skin color was healthy for them. They were generally tall, the men were more than 2 meters tall, and the women were between 1.8 and 1.9 meters tall. It was said that the demigod immortals had the bloodline of the ancient gods and were born with the protection of the ancient gods. As their cultivation increased, the protection effect became more obvious. Moreover, their physical strength was very terrifying, and the highest it could reach was 15 times the spiritual power. The most terrifying thing about the demigod immortals was their sensitivity to spiritual power. Many demigod immortal cultivators could understand the intricacies of spiritual power very early, and the number of immortals who could control spiritual power was far more than that of other races. With so many innate advantages, the demigod immortals were firmly in the top echelon of strength among all races. The demigod guards were all very arrogant. In their eyes, a lowly race like humans was not worth mentioning. You are the solipsistic immortal? The leader of the guards slightly raised his chin and looked at Lu Chen. Yes. I didn't expect that a trash race like humans could produce such a good fighter. Hey, did you slaughter the demon realm's immortal arena? Another guard said, Captain, the human race can't do anything, but there are many of them. It's possible for 1 or 2 experts to appear. These people did not speak rudely to Lu Chen, but the contempt in their words was no less than that of the demon race. Lu Chen looked at the guards calmly and smiled. I indeed just came from the demon immortal region. Bring me to your largest immortal arena. The captain coldly harumphed. Rumor has it that you, the solipsistic, are incredibly arrogant and condescending. You dare to come to our god descendant? Lu Chen smiled. In my eyes, there is no difference between you and the demon race. As soon as he said this, the eyes of the demigod guards immediately shone with fierce light. The captain seemed to be under orders. Although his eyes were also filled with hostility, he still stopped his subordinates. Don't touch him. He will die in the immortal battle arena. Why would our god's descendants fear a challenge from another race? Even more so, I don't want to make a move here. Instead, I'll be gossiped about by others. Solipsistic, let's go. I'll take you there. God Descendant Immortal Region, Imperial Sky Immortal City, Immortal Battle Arena. A large number of God Descendant Immortals were hurrying to the Immortal Battle Arena. The Immortal Battle Arena spectator seats had been changed to a ticketing system. One had to pay 100 spirit tablets to enter. Even so, it was still hard to get a ticket to the spectator seats for this battle. At the same time, the venerated God Descendant Immortal had already released 2 projection stones. One was for the human race and the other for the demon race. The Immortal Battle Arena of the 2 races was also packed with people. Many people even took out their own projection stones to transmit images a second time. Ever since Lu Chen swept through the Immortal Battle Arena in the demon race, more and more people had been paying attention to him. God descendant race. One of the strongest races. The battle had not yet begun, but people were already discussing the arena. That guy really went to the God descendant race. The God descendant race is good at sensing spiritual energy. The top expert's spiritual energy has probably reached the pinnacle of spiritual energy manipulation. Even if they haven't reached the pinnacle, the solipsistic spiritual energy manipulation won't be of much use. Jiao, Ling Long, and Feng Wu looked around. Yi Fan and Mu Long had said that they were going out for a while. Why hadn't they returned yet? There were too many people here. The 2 empty seats were too conspicuous. People were always coming over to ask. If it weren't for Feng Wu, a 5-star Sengoku, there would probably be people trying to rob them. Senior Feng Wu, where did Senior Mu Long go? Ling Long asked. It seems that someone opened a bet. Mu Long dragged Yi Fan to place a bet. What? Senior Mu Long dragged Yi Fan to place a bet? Zhi's eyes widened. Why didn't Senior Mu Long ask us? Seeing Jiao's nervous expression, Feng Wu was puzzled. It's common to open a bet in the 7th heaven. But is there something wrong with this? It's not a problem to place a bet, but Senior Mu Long dragged Yi Fan. Senior Feng Wu, you don't know about Yi Fan's special ability. Special ability? Is it some kind of kung fu? No, it's an innate talent. Mu Long and Yi Fan were watching the people in front of them place their bets. Most people bet that the solipsistic spiritual energy manipulation wouldn't be able to win 3 rounds. The two smiled at each other. These people obviously didn't know how powerful Lu Chen was. Although the divine descendants were very powerful and could easily defeat several demons of the same level, the point was that Lu Chen still had several killer moves that he hadn't used at all. Others didn't know, but they did. This was insider information. It's a sure thing this time. Mu Long winked at Yi Fan. Yi Fan was suddenly nervous. He had been losing for decades. Finally, he had a chance to make a fortune. There were more than 50,000 spiritual tablets in his backpack, which were given to him by his master. According to the ratio of 1 to 3, he could get at least 150,000. This bet was actually quite complicated. There were only bets on whether the solipsistic spiritual energy manipulation could make it through 3 rounds. If he made it through, he would win. If he didn't, he would lose. Based on the current situation, those who bet on winning could get 3 to 4 times the return. Hey, Yi Fan, I don't think we should play this. The returns are too low. Mu Long pulled Yi Fan to the other side. Bet on this. This was the second type of bet. It was accurate to every round. Of course, the more accurate the bet, the higher the returns. It was like betting on a dice roll. You could only get twice the return, but if you bet on a hit, you could get several times the return. Now, the returns for winning the final round were already frighteningly high. If he won 3 rounds, he could get 6 times the return. If he won 4 rounds, he could get 12 times the return. If he won 5 rounds, he could get 20 times the return. Mu Long pulled Yi Fan out of the crowd and found a quiet place to discuss. Yi Fan, based on your understanding of your master, if he didn't lose, how many rounds would he fight? Yi Fan said confidently. My master's ability to manage money is far better than mine. 5 rounds would be close to 50 million. He wouldn't miss it. As long as we bet on 5 rounds, we can definitely make a profit. Mu Long frowned. But have you ever thought of a problem? Lu Chen's purpose of accepting the Reaper's order is to find Qianji. Think about it. Lu Chen is in the open, and Lu Chen is in the dark. In this situation, Lu Chen should be conserving his strength. Yi Fan suddenly felt as if he was struck by lightning. That's right. How could he forget this key factor? Chapter 1323. Yi Fan finally found the reason why he was always losing money. That was, he did not think it through enough. Just like Mu Long, he saw through the truth. His master was not here to earn money, he was here to kill Qianji. Qianji was so cunning, how could his master not have a backup plan? This was the most important factor, but he did not think about it. No wonder he always lost. Senior Mulong, may I ask if you've always won your bets? Mulong smiled and said humbly, I can't say that I always win. It's just that I can see things that others can't see, so I did earn some money. Yi Fan nodded heavily and sighed. Indeed, after listening to Senior Mulong's analysis, Yi Fan felt as if he had just woken up from a dream. Mulong looked at Yi Fan with admiration. Don't be discouraged. You can be taught. As long as you pay more attention to the details, you can have as much money as you want. Yes, I hope Senior Mulong can teach me more in the future. No problem. Then let's. Yes. It must be 3 rounds. Yi Fan said with certainty. Oh, right, Little Critter said that if there were any bets, we should help him bet everything. Yi Fan suddenly smiled sinisterly. Senior Mulong, Little Critter said that we should bet everything on winning. As he spoke, Yi Fan could not help but snicker. Hee, Little Beast's gambling luck is too good. However, he probably doesn't know that the gambling here is so detailed. He can only earn 3 times the amount. As for us, we can finally hold our heads high. The two of them immediately squeezed their way to the betting area and placed all their spirit tablets on 3 wins. Then, they happily returned to the spectator seats with their tickets in hand. As soon as Yi Fan and Mulong returned, Ling Long, Jiao Er and Feng Wu asked them, what did you bet on? Of course, we won 3 rounds. Mulong and Yi Fan said confidently. As soon as he finished speaking, the 3 women immediately left their seats and hurried to the betting area. It seemed that they had gone to place their bets. Mulong winked at Yi Fan. Look, they're also learning from us. Forget it, let them bask in the glory. Yi Fan nodded. It's not like it's our money that we're winning anyway. If there's money to be won, everyone can earn it. At the same time, the God Descendant race's immortal battle arena was bustling with noise and excitement. A Sengoku walked up to the ring and gestured for everyone to quiet down. All right, everyone should have heard about what happened in the monster race's immortal domain. What's interesting is that some people actually dared to come to our God Descendant race and set up a challenge. The audience roared with laughter. The host smiled and gestured for everyone to be quiet again. It's been so many years since an emissary has come to our demigod immortal region. Finally, one has come. Since they're here, we naturally have to entertain them properly. Someone below the stage shouted. We'll definitely greet them well. At the very least, we'll chop them into 8 pieces and hang their corpses on the city gate so that those lowly human beings will know their place. They dare to come to our God Descendant immortal region? Tell them who is the strongest among the myriad races. In 3 seconds, you humans will never dare to set foot in our God Descendant immortal region again. Humans, listen well. Next time, our emissary will definitely flatten your human race's immortal battle arena. The host shouted. Next, let's invite the human emissary onto the stage. Everyone's gaze was fixed on one of the entrances. Not long after, a black-clothed human man appeared at the entrance. Facing the curses and humiliation of hundreds of thousands of people, Lu Chen walked into the immortal battle arena with his head held high. Standing in the center of the immortal battle arena, Lu Chen looked at the countless immortals around him. He snorted and stood proudly in the middle of the arena. The host walked over and sized up Lu Chen. Solipsistic, do you see the million immortals of our God Descendant race? Coming to our God Descendant race was a wrong decision. How about it? Do you have anything to say before you die? If you beg for mercy now, maybe we will let you live. After all, to us, crushing an ant is not something to be proud of. Whether it was humans or fiends, after hearing the host's words, they all became nervous. The God Descendant race actually said that they would let Lu Chen live? This was not the style of the God Descendant race. However, after thinking about it, they knew that if Solipsistic begged for mercy now, it would show the strength of the God Descendant race. 1 against 4 in the fiend race, while the God Descendant race begged for mercy. The strength of the 2 races was immediately clear. Lu Chen smiled and looked around. At this time, the surrounding immortals also quieted down. Everyone wanted to know what Solipsistic wanted to say. My master will not beg for mercy. Lu Chen will not beg for mercy. Mu Long and Yi Fan muttered to themselves at the same time, their voices almost synchronized. Almost at the same time, Lu Chen said, "Beg for mercy? You must be dreaming." The two looked at each other. Sure enough, they were the worms in Lu Chen's stomach. They even knew what Lu Chen was thinking at this time. If that was the case, then the bet was even more likely to be a success. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes and looked at the hundreds of thousands of God-descendant race immortals. He said in a deep voice, "What I said before in the fiend race, I can also say to you. I, the human race, solipsistic, is here. I came to your God-descendant immortal domain to flatten your God-descendant immortal battle arena." With a boom, the God-descendant race's audience stand exploded. A strange scene appeared in the fiend race's immortal battle arena. Many people were cheering. I suddenly feel that this solipsistic really has guts. He actually dares to say such arrogant words to the God-descendant race. Humph, how strong does the God-descendant think he is? Isn't he treated the same as us? Begging for mercy? Doesn't he just want people to think that the God-descendant race is stronger than us fiends? A bunch of arrogant people. I actually hope that solipsistic wins. Me too. The host's expression is somewhat ugly. Lu Chen's face is calm. I have said what I wanted to say, hurry and start. Good. As expected of madman, you will soon regret what you said just now. Primary Marshal Sengoku, start. From the front row of the stands, a figure flashed rapidly and instantly arrived in front of Lu Chen. Primary Marshal Sengoku, Lu Chen's first opponent. What? You came to our God-descendant immortal domain and you don't dare to fight 1 against 4? Primary Marshal looks at Lu Chen with a smile that is not a smile. Lu Chen snorts coldly. So, in your eyes, I must win against the 4 of you to be considered a winner? Then do you mean that 1 human can fight against 4 of you God-descendant race? Primary Marshal originally wanted to destroy Lu Chen's prestige. In the end, he was asked a series of questions by Lu Chen until his face turned red. Humph, what I mean is, as long as I am here, you will not have the chance to see the people behind. In my eyes, you are a dead man. Lu Chen curls his lips. You are slightly better in my eyes. What do you mean? In my eyes, you are a spirit piece. Lu Chen says with a smile. Chapter 1324. The two's battle records were quickly displayed. Origin Marshal, 9-star Sengoku, 47 battles, 32 wins, 35 planet coordinates. Solipsistic, no immortal, 77 battles, 77 wins, 98 planet coordinates. With a crisp ring, both sides activated their amplification techniques at the same time. Origin Ancient God Bloodline. Undefeatable War God Possession. Sword Spirit Heavenly Demon. Talisman Emperor Psychic. This Origin Marshal was actually a combination of a Sword Spirit and a Talisman Master. Lu Chen sneered, looks like you have lost quite a few rounds. Stop talking nonsense. My opponents are all God-descendant race experts. How can an ant like you imagine their strength? Don't worry, I am more than enough to kill you. With that, a silver sword appeared in that person's hand. His left hand turned into a sword finger and lightly stroked the sword. A row of golden runes flashed across the sword. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. This guy had added a formation into his weapon. Speaking of which, the God-slaying spear's formation had not been activated yet. However, such an opponent was not worth it to activate that formation. Immortal Art, Heavenly Master Sword Art, Shadowless Spirit Sword. Origin Marshal instantly appeared in front of Lu Chen and stabbed his sword. At the same time, Lu Chen suddenly realized that he was unable to capture the change in spirit power of the opponent's move. He hurriedly retreated to avoid the opponent's attack and stabilized his footing. Origin Marshal sneered, "Don't you like to fight head-on? Why did you run when you saw me? Don't run, little bastard." The opponent's attacks came wave after wave. Lu Chen was currently in a dodging state and did not even use Reverse Soul Roaming Dragon. This guy could actually obstruct him from sensing the change in spirit power. Once he was unable to judge the opponent's move through spirit power observation, he would be unable to judge the opponent's attack with his naked eye. It's that formation. Lu Chen's thoughts changed. Origin Martial chased several times but was dodged by Lu Chen. He roared at Lu Chen, "Aren't you arrogant? Why are you a coward in front of me, Origin Martial? I think you should stop calling yourself solipsistic in the future. Call yourself the only coward." Lu Chen was not affected by Yuanwu. He was thinking hard about countermeasures. Origin Martial was indeed very strong, but Lu Chen did not think that his opponent was stronger than him in a frontal attack. The key was that he could not see his opponent's moves clearly. The god descendant race was skilled in controlling their Ling energy. Because of this, they paid great attention to hiding their Ling power in long-term battles. If Yuanwu was like this, then the people behind him would be even better. He had to find a breakthrough first. Lu Chen dodged several times, but did not clash head-on with Yuanwu. Yuanwu chased closer and closer. Still running? Dragon Binding Talisman. Yuanwu threw out a talisman with one hand, which immediately exploded beside Lu Chen. Immediately after, Lu Chen felt that many parts of his body were restricted. It was as if several joints of his body were tied up with ropes. Since Lu Chen had exposed an opening, Yuanwu naturally would not give up this chance. He took the chance to charge in front of Lu Chen. Immortal Art, Celestial Master Sword Art, Sword Severing Galaxy. At this time, Lu Chen shouted at the same time, "Celestial Demon Heavenly Eye." In the past, the Celestial Demon Heavenly Eye could allow Lu Chen to see more clearly, but the increase was limited. The key was still Lu Chen's own ability to discern the other's attacks. But this time, after activating the Celestial Demon Heavenly Eye, even Lu Chen was surprised. The Celestial Demon Heavenly Eye seemed to be able to see through the other's formation, and helped Lu Chen accurately see the other's Ling power movements. It could actually penetrate the formation. It seemed that he had underestimated the use of the Celestial Demon Heavenly Eye. Now that Lu Chen could see the other's Ling power movements, he no longer had any misgivings. Seeing that the other's sword-severing galaxy was about to stab over, Lu Chen flicked the tip of his spear, Reverse Soul Roaming Dragon. With a loud boom, the sword-severing galaxy's main attack was deflected by the Reverse Soul Roaming Dragon. It brushed past Lu Chen's body and slammed into the defensive formation at the edge of the stage. Immediately after, Lu Chen's counterattack arrived in front of Yuanwu. 18 Arhat Vajra Spirit Shield. Yuanwu was indeed a 9-star Sengoku, immediately reacting. With a loud boom, Lu Chen's Reverse Soul Roaming Dragon blocked Yuanwu's attack, but his counterattack was also blocked by the Vajra Spirit Shield. After 2 consecutive close-range collisions, both sides retreated dozens of steps. Both of them stopped. Yuanwu stood up and laughed wildly. "Ha, solipsistic, now you know the strength of our celestial race. I didn't expect that in the battle with the 4 great Sengoku of the demon race, you still preserved your strength. What a pity, you were forced out so quickly." Lu Chen looked coldly at Yuanwu. "You're still laughing? Don't you know that you're already a dead man?" Yuanwu snorted. "Your spirit manipulation technique is not low, but unfortunately, I know it too. So it won't be that easy for you to kill me." Lu Chen unintentionally saw 2 shadow stones. Without a doubt, Qian Ji was watching his every move through the shadow stones. Lu Chen rolled his eyes and suddenly had an interesting idea. He smiled, and a blue bead suddenly appeared on his shoulder. "Do you know what this is?" Yuanwu was stunned. Naturally, he did not recognize this bead. He smiled at Yuanwu. "You said that you forced me to use my trump card. I don't mind telling you that those are not my trump cards, but this bead is. If not for this bead, I would have died in the 6th heaven. I haven't used it yet. If you have the strength to force me to use this bead, it means that you still have some strength." All of a sudden, the entire immortal battle arena became restless. Solipsistic is really arrogant. He actually revealed his magical artifact? Speaking of which, do you guys recognize this blue bead? There are countless magical artifacts in Jiutian. Who can recognize all of them? But since he used this bead as his trump card, it probably isn't simple. Solipsistic used the celestial demon observation eye. I calculated that he has a total of 5 pieces of the celestial demon fate reversing set. What kind of magical artifact is it for him to rely on it so much? On the other side, Jiao was also very surprised. She asked Yi Fan, "Yi Fan, what's the bead in your master's hand? Why haven't I seen him use it before?" Yi Fan frowned. "Sister Jiao, I haven't seen it before either." Jiao and Yi Fan had never seen a magical artifact before. How deep did Lu Chen hide it? At that moment, they remembered that there was a top student sitting beside them. "Sister Linglong, do you recognize it?" Linglong was looking at the bead carefully. No matter how she looked at it, there was nothing special about it. Was it really that powerful? I haven't seen it before either. Senior Mu Long, Senior Feng Wu, do you guys know it? No. The two Sengoku shook their heads. In the glass room, there were 4 celestial supremes today. 3 men and 1 woman. Pangu, what's that magical artifact in that kid's hand? I don't know either. Pangu stood with his hands behind his back and shook his head. You don't even recognize the celestial supremes. At this time, Lu Chen looked at the blue bead and slightly narrowed his eyes. Qianji, you must be watching my competition right now. I'm fighting here, but you're eating, drinking, and traveling all over the place? Then I'll find something for you to do. No one would be able to recognize the clear water bead that the little golden carp gave him. At the same time, somewhere in the 10,000 spirits immortal realm, Qianji was lying down. He was eating local immortal fruits while watching Lu Chen's competition on the projection stone. However, he had no choice but to sit up. Hey Yen, what's that bead? I haven't seen it before. Tise? Qianji felt that something was amiss. Did this bead save him in the 6th heaven? Could it be that I didn't kill Solipsistic because of this bead? Is this true or false? With Qianji's cautious personality, even if he was 99% sure that Solipsistic would die in the arena, he would not allow such a thing to happen. We have to find out the origin of this bead. I'll get someone to check it out immediately. Not immediately now. I want to know the origin of this bead now. Qianji roared. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.